Back with Leonarda Jonie, comedian, extremely canceled. You
Yeah.
actually are canceled. We were just talking how I tried seeing your show when you're in Vegas, but it actually got canceled.
Yep, that was last year. You were trying to come. I was supposed to be performing. I was supposed to be actually opening for another comedian at the Virgin, and the manager came and spoke to the headliner and was like, "Is Leonarda Jonie on your show?" And they were like, "Yeah." And he's like, "She can't go on this stage."
Wow.
And I was like, "All right."
That's crazy.
Yeah, you guys were supposed to come to that.
No, we actually
Well,
did
you
come
did come to that,
still,
but I couldn't.
You weren't performing,
Yeah,
so
I
we
didn't
were a little
perform.
disappointed. So
Yep.
I've never seen you still. I've seen little clips, but comedy's not the same if it's not live. I don't think it's
I
okay,
agree.
but
I
something about
agree.
the live is just so much better.
Live is always so much better
For
because
stand up, it's just like it's meant to be live.
the energy, the other people, the things that are happening in the moment, you can't really recreate that. I do kind of as best I can with my edits, but
It's like an art skill, I'd imagine, to learn to read the audience, to learn to what jokes. It's kind of like an art form.
yeah, I'm from New York, so that's like my second language.
Is that where you came up doing comedy through those New York comedy clubs?
Yeah, I actually didn't start comedy all that long ago. I was funny before that, apparently,
Yeah, everyone's just like getting to comedy, or
Yeah, actually, I used to teach these logic classes, and I guess I wanted to keep it interesting, so I'd start cracking jokes, not realizing what I was doing. And people would come up to me for like 6 years and were like, "Do you do stand up?" And I was like, "Get away from me!" Like I'm a sophisticated person. I'm not going to do stand up comedy with all these losers. Which, by the way, guys,
here you are.
Stop worshiping stand up comedians. Okay, they're losers.
A lot of them kind of are. I know way too many comics.
Grade A losers. The only thing that makes stand-up comedians worth anything is when they use comedy to poke fun at the machine.
Yeah.
And most comics right now just want to be the machine.
No, it's true.
So you're pathetic.
I think it's not. I think it was even worse a few years ago. There's a few people pushing back,
Yeah.
like Tim Dillon, people like that. But as a whole, there's not a lot of comedians that are really.
Yeah, Tim Dillon, Sam Hyde, Sam Tripoli.
So there's been more pushing. Like I even get tons of the comedians tell me like, "Oh, I love the edgy stuff." But it's like, well, you guys could do it too. You're a fucking comedian. Like,
I know, but they want to be part of the cool kids group. That's what it is. That's what's so sad. It's like I used to hang out with comedians all the time because that's what you do when you're coming up.
Yeah.
And they're all like slobs, alcoholics, drug addicts, lazy, no work ethic, hanging around, talking shit about people making it, and
so much gossip in comedy. You're right. I mean,
trying to stay within the guardrails of accepted speech. And that's insane to me because I'm like,
I agree.
your job is to go outside the guardrails.
That's comedy's purpose, is to push the boundaries. That's how it's always been. They need comedians are ones that can poke on the topics you're not supposed to be.
Well, they were supposed to be, right? But that only happened when we had a white Christian conservative majority culture, right? Then they totally pushed the comedians being subversive and speaking outside the bounds because they had an agenda to take that down, right? So you had these comics making fun of white Christian conservatives to their face. And what do you know? White Christian conservatives had a sense of humor. They didn't care, right? So now those comics have facilitated bringing about this multicultural, everyone matters society, and nobody can make jokes. What do you know? The people that you championed as the victims of the system are communists who want you dead. Congrats.
Yeah, like literally, they want us dead. Like you see these people, assassinations. Well, Charlie Kirk will get into that. Whether it was a communist or someone else, it's like these people, they completely hate us. They
hate us. They want us dead, and they want to silence anybody who threatens their power. And this is how you threaten their power. Tell the truth.
Yeah.
If you tell the truth, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're anti-Semite, you're a misogynist, because that world is built on lies. And so telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
It's crazy that So many people are so cowardly, which is weird. When I start speaking up on Twitter, everyone's like, "Oh, you're so brave. I wish I could speak the truth." Like, what do you mean you wish? You can. I've had grown men tell me they can't like my tweet because now the likes don't show.
Yeah.
Because grown men were too scared to like a tweet. Like, how embarrassing is that? These guys think it's like a cool thing telling me they can't like my tweet. It's like, bro, that's like embarrassing. You're a grown man and you're telling me you can't like my tweet.
Yeah, it is, but it's also like the reality of the system that we live in. That
people do get fired and stuff.
People get fired.
That's why I try not to be too hard. People get canceled.
They get fired. It gets worse,
you're canceled.
They post your address. I mean, do you know how many death threats I've gotten?
Probably a lot. I've gotten a lot, yeah.
A lot of death
threats. You never know when they be real. It's like, it's hard to say.
And then you also don't know which people are being quiet about their intention to kill you.
Yeah,
because you're
those are the more scary ones.
These idiots are, dumb enough to say it to me, but the person who's actually going to be smart enough to do it isn't going to tell you.
No, if I was going to kill someone, I'm not going to go give them a death threat on Twitter.
Here's a warning. I'm coming to you.
What do you think it was that got you the most canceled of everything you pushed? Because you really are canceled.
Yeah, I can't go to any comedy clubs.
You and Owen Benjamin. You know Owen Benjamin?
Yeah, I know Owen Benjamin.
He really gets canceled too.
Yeah.
I've seen him places shut down. And
he's gotten totally canceled. I mean, there's a lot of people who've gotten, like Sam Hyde got canceled. He was totally wiped off until Elon bought Twitter, and then he was able to come back online. That was new, right?
No, that's good. I mean, I don't fully trust Elon, but at least he's given us more of a voice.
I don't think we should fully trust anyone, is the truth. People earn levels of trust based on their behavior. But if they do something that's kind of shady, you get to take away levels of trust. Like it's a rough time right now. We have subversion everywhere, right? Yeah. Because apparently we're a threat for wanting traditional families and wanting our kids to be able to go to school and not learn about gay butt sex.
Right, like shit.
That's a threat. Yeah, it's a threat because you want to totally corrupt humanity. So, you just get canceled so I can't do it. Like, I pretty much, I think there's one comedy club that I can do that is in, I think it's Kansas City, Missouri.
So even Joe Rogan hasn't ever invited you to his club?
No, I'm banned from the mothership.
Like officially or just?
No, I'm officially banned by the second tier management, because the manager who runs Joe Rogan's club is a far left Bernie Sanders commie liberal. I mean, you can go to his Instagram page and he's got a black fist in the air. And I'm like, this guy,
is he a white guy?
He's a white guy. No, he's a white guy. He's a white guy, and he's all about believe all women, except me, apparently.
Yeah, women lie all the time.
Right? And this is who Joe has running his club. And I think it's a blind spot because, people that are like us, kind of like right wing, we want to be fair minded.
Yeah.
Right. So we're like, okay, we have different politics. You do a good job running the club. So I still want you to run the club.
Yeah.
And we don't realize that they don't operate the same way back. They're not like, okay, you have different politics, but you're giving me this job, so I'm not going to bring my politics in there. They're like, no. You're a Nazi, and I'm going to find every way to subvert your mission. And that's what we see happening a lot of times on Twitter with these Indians that operate behind the scenes, or even some of these Zionists that operate behind the scenes. And they ban you for simple things like asking a question.
Mm-hmm. That's why I saw a lot of those, even the Act All White accounts are actually Indian.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Yeah, you've had more problems with Indians than I have. I haven't really had that many bad interactions with Indians. But
well, because I report on them accurately. I've reported behind the scenes stuff that was going on. I mean, we see it now where they've taken over FedEx and they've started firing all the white employees and hiring only Indians. So everybody's going to be getting packages of shit. Hope you're happy.
Packages of shit. I hear it's a real problem in tech too. Like all my friends in tech, because I don't work in that industry, so I haven't been around Indians that much. That's why I don't really have a strong opinion. But they say they're taking it over. They're only hiring each other. They're treating white people like shit.
Yep.
Or Asian, white, whatever. It's only Indians they're helping out, and they keep getting promoted. Well, you look at all these companies now. It's either Jews or Indians running them. It's like they're doing the bidding for the Jewish people now. It seems like
they are, because I believe that there's like a whole Zionist campaign and liberal campaign to exorcise whites from their country, right?
Yeah.
And putting Indians in charge is great because they're extremely nepotistic and racist, by the way. And it's kind of insane because we bought this lie. I bought it too. I believed like Indians were good at tech. And then I actually saw a sketch from Sam Hyde a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he had like this thing flash on screen, which talked about actually Indians are so bad at tech that they program a bunch of bugs into their code that the white people that work there have to spend their whole time cleaning up their code just so things can function.
Why do you think they keep getting promoted? Just because they do what they're told?
It just takes one person within the company to hire an Indian supervisor or hiring manager.
And they only hire Indians.
And that's it. It's done. And it's not to say, there are some very, very intelligent Indians. Like, we got to be honest, right? Some of them have some very high IQs. They often become doctors, right? And they can become the CEOs of these major tech companies. But they want to recreate the caste system that they have in India because, when you're at the top of the ladder in India, everybody below you is basically a servant because that's the system. And they like that. So they're bringing in their hordes of lower tier, lower caste Indians so they can have like another slave class.
The high caste and wants the underclass.
Yeah.
They have it like...
And they get kickbacks of money. When you hire them, you have to pay them. I mean, it's really ludicrous, crazy shit that happens. Yeah,
no, it is. And I know Elon likes to hire lots of Indians. That's when I lost my check mark when I was like criticizing
that H-1Bs.
I criticized that, and that's boom, my check mark disappeared.
Yeah, that I guarantee you that was an Indian that did that to you.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it got brought to Elon's attention, and he said he approved of it. Basically, he never said why our check marks were taken, but he just said the breaking the rules or whatever.
Yeah,
we can't criticize Indian labor.
Yeah, it's sad because it's like India exists. You have a whole subcontinent, not just a country.
1 billion of them.
You have a subcontinent where you can do whatever you want. You can build whatever tech companies you want, and you can hire each other until you die. Mm-hmm. Why don't you do that there?
I know it's insane. To me, I'm not even that anti-Indian, but why are we bringing them over and giving them our good jobs? It's bad enough to bring our shitty jobs.
I wouldn't care.
High-paying jobs.
Listen, if it was like a small percentage of Indians worked in this country and, because it was like that for a while, they occupied some positions, they were doctors, they're building their families, whatever, fine. It's the total and complete takeover. Like, nobody wants that.
No, and I think it's worse than I realized. I've had friends tell me that in tech in San Francisco, that's gotten really bad. And in Canada, they are flooding millions over. And Canada's not I think they got like 30 million people, and they brought in like 4 or 5 million over in the last
And what happens when they come? They don't feel gratitude and say, oh, wow, you've given me this opportunity. Let me contribute something. Yeah. No, there's entitlement. You have to conform to us. We're taking your jobs in your country, bitch, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. And there's the same exact behavior that turned India into a shithole, which is throwing things in pristine areas in nature, dumping trash, openly defecating,
on the streets,
bathing with doing their laundry in these streams. I mean, this is one of the reasons you will often see Indians love nature. If you ever go out into nature, you see them all over. They're they can't believe it because in India, everything's so polluted. There's so much smog. It's just loud. Is that
why they're all the national parks?
That's why
they just crowd in the national parks.
That's why
they hike far.
Exactly. That's exactly why they're all in the national parks.
And they get lost when they do hike far. I've run into lost Indians hiking multiple times.
I hope you didn't give them directions.
Sorry, I did. I helped them out of there. I'm too nice.
Yeah,
I feel bad when I see a lost Indian.
You know what? I got to say, apparently in the national parks, all these people get abducted and go missing.
I've heard a little bit about it, but I haven't done
Can we
research.
just apparently they're getting abducted by these aliens or whatever? I feel like the aliens probably took a few Indians by accident and just sent them back.
Just dropped them back. I'll get rid of
them.
They're
this isn't what we're looking for.
No, I've noticed that in the last couple of years. The park's just packed full of Indians. I'm what is going on here?
Packed because they all work from home too with these fake tech jobs. They get these salaries. It's all bullshit. It's insane. When Trump said he was going to pass that 100K.
Didn't he back down on that already? I was oh, Trump finally doing something good.
I know. They said they were going to pass that 100K per H-1B and that you would have to pay if you didn't come back, if you weren't in America by I think like September, whatever it was, September 2nd. And all of a sudden, all of these ticket prices from India to America started to go up. And it was like, wait, I thought you guys were here working.
So they're not even here.
They're not even here.
Pay.
They're working,
So
working from home, sitting in India with their VPNs, claiming that they're here.
Wow, that's crazy.
And basically what they're doing is they're siphoning every resource that America has for India. And it's like, but you're not even doing anything. You don't even build anything in India.
It doesn't even go back into our economy. This is a job that could go to an American for like probably $200K, but it goes to an Indian for $100K.
Yeah, and it's tragic because you have all these young men who a few years ago were taught to learn how to code, right? What a psyop. Learn to code. And you have all these brilliant and talented white American men who cannot get jobs in tech because they don't fulfill the quotas for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they're getting passed over by Indians who specifically will not hire them because they're not Indian.
That's crazy. I feel like in America, there's been a very deliberate attack on the white man. Well, actually the white woman, I guess, too. Just white people.
Yeah.
Over the last, 20, 30, 40 years. It seems very deliberate.
Yeah, it's actually started pretty soon after World War II.
That's probably really when it started.
Yeah.
It's just really escalated past then.
Which is convenient.
Through the 60s, yeah.
Pretty soon after World War II. What happened?
The good guys won, for sure.
Hey guys, I'm demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support me and the podcast, go to fightbackpodcast.com and you can buy some cool merch like the shirt I'm wearing now. As many of you guys know, I run a free speech podcast. That comes as a price. It's being demonetized everywhere. So one way to support the podcast is to buy your books from AntelopeHillPublishing.com. Today's selection is The Trans Industrial Complex. This book covers the money-making machine of the trans industries and shows it's not to help people, but to make money and get rich. So again, if you want to support the podcast, go to AntelopeHillPublishing.com and be sure to use promo code FIGHTBACK. That'll save you money and support me. Thank you.
And they started all their campaigns with, white people are racist. We need the civil rights movement, ending desegregation at the point of a gun, right?
Yeah, well, literally it was at the point of a gun.
And the feminist movement was supposed to turn women against men, which it did successfully. And now you have all these women who are on antidepressants and don't understand that they're the making of their own misery. Mm-hmm. And the more miserable they get with the choices they make, the more they blame men.
Yeah, I think feminism has made women miserable. They've got themselves to get jobs. They go sleep around, but women aren't it's not good for them mentally.
Fully. I mean, so this is something I don't understand with the feminist movement. It's like, I grew up with two parents working because they were immigrants, so they didn't really have that luxury of, the mom gets to stay at home. And my mom hated that. She was like, I just wanted to be with my kids, and I missed that time. But what I saw was a woman who worked outside of the home and then had to come home and do all the same things she had to do inside of the home. And people are like, well, that's not fair. The men should do more. And it's like, but they're not going to.
It's not the reality of things, though.
They're not going to because they don't have tits, so they're not going to be breastfeeding the babies. They're going to be focused on how can I get supplies so you can feed the baby? How can I protect you so you and the baby can be safe? And all of your screeching and crying and propaganda has not worked to change biology.
It's biologically we're designed I love kids and stuff, but it's we're not designed to take care of the kid the same way.
You're just not.
I don't have the nurturing ability.
Women are just attuned that.
There's some things we can do better, like the fun and the tossing the kids around. We know that stuff, but then the nurturing,
the discipline,
things, they would know.
The discipline is something you guys can do better.
They'll be crying, and the mom it wants this. They know what the baby wants, but as a man, I'm just I don't know what the kid wants.
And no amount of shaming you is going to change that.
No.
It was a perfectly, seriously, there's all these videos of these women filming themselves crying because they're like, I never wanted to work a job. And people will repost.
They're told it's good for them, yeah.
They'll repost it and be like, oh, millennials can't handle work. And I go, I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but every single one of these videos is a woman, and she's usually at some pretty meaningless job.
Yeah.
And it's unimportant, and she thought that this is what she was supposed to do.
That's what she was told from a young kid. That's what she wanted.
she's crying thinking it's because the job's not important enough. She still hasn't had the realization that it's because it's contrary to her biology, and that what she really wants is to be raising children and nurturing them, because that's actually where she gets her meaning from.
Yeah, I think men feel a lot better too if they are providing for the family. The girl doesn't have to work. Like, I don't want my kids getting raised by the government.
100
I want the mother of my children taking care of my kids.
110%. And women don't want that anyway. They're lying, okay? Yeah. Because I used to be married when I was 25. I got married really young, didn't know anything, and my ex-husband was a real piece of work. He was not like a typical. I'm going to take care of things. I'm going to take care of you. He actually tried to figure out like strategies for how
to get you to do more,
how he could get more money from me, and we didn't have kids or anything. And I was young and believed all the feminist stuff. And even though something in me was like, this isn't right.
You naturally didn't feel right. So your
my nature didn't
yeah.
feel right, but my brainwashing goes, well, there shouldn't be anything wrong with this because I am making a little bit more money than him, and men and women are equal.
But women hate that, as the truth of the matter is. They deep down, they hate it if they're making more than their man. And that's caused a lot of problems with, these girls are going to college and not, and in their nature, the girl doesn't they want their man to be making more than them.
Every single time.
I tell guys, their girls get a promotion, like, bro, you better step your game up and like find some way to like, she doesn't want you. Whatever she tells you deep down in her nature, she wants you to be the breadwinner.
It's 100% true. And especially if you're like women, like I just say to you, okay, you want equality? Why don't you go and ask a man out on a date? Make sure you pick him up, pick him up, pay for dinner, get him flowers, and let's see if at the end of the date you have any attraction left to this man. Guaranteed nothing.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, with some very few exceptions with women who are borderline gay. Few exceptions. Okay. But on top of what you said, this whole system is a lie. These women who are making all this money, they're not doing anything. They're in the office. I mean, they make these videos. They're in the office, typing for a few minutes, walking to go get a coffee, talking to their friends. They work on someone's calendar, and they get $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
Then you've got a guy who's breaking his back as an electrician, okay? And he's coming home with $70,000 to $80,000 a year, which is still pretty good. And she's like, you're beneath me. And it's like, you're not doing anything real. And if this whole system collapses, okay, you're going to have no purpose besides whether or not you can cook, raise children, and keep things kind of tidy. And there is nothing you could offer that's going to be valuable in that marketplace. Besides, there are some very intelligent women. It's not like when I say these things, I'm talking in broad generalizations.
It's fine if some women work, but it shouldn't be like a mandatory thing. It's not bad that women are working. It's the thing that they're being told that this is what you need to do. You need to have two parents and a career. That also cuts wages down. But also you then put your women in these daycares with people who raising your kids. Will abuse them and put propaganda into them. Yeah, physical, sexual, mental abuse. So they're not getting physically or sexually abused. There's the mental abuse of being told that you can pick your gender. Just a lot of parents don't know. Like, they have women after like 2 or 3 months, they tell them like, go back to work. They're meant to be like holding their baby, nurturing it. It's not good for the baby. It's gross. It's gross, dude. It's gross. Like, the baby is. Like, if we want to think about when we were in the caves, mother and child were basically inseparable for the first 2 years. 2 years. Okay. No, they do it at 2 or 3 months. They separate them now. I think men too have been kind of pussified, where they don't like, they're not like, sorry, but men aren't willing to like protect their women now. It's like, how could you have a guy? I see these guys bitching about, women aren't worth protecting now. But if like you're not willing to like die for the woman you're with, like you shouldn't be with her. Yeah, you shouldn't be with a girl. That's why you can't respect a guy that you know is not going to keep you safe if something bad happens. Like absolutely. Like, and the other thing too is women don't. We know it deep down inside, right? But we talk ourselves out of it, and then we are like, oh no, I should be fine with it. So we're not even selecting on that level. And then we wonder why we resent the guys, start bitching at him and henpecking. And it's because like you haven't demonstrated the ability that number one, if you don't demonstrate the ability that you can protect me, I then know that you also won't put me in my place. I think that's why girls deep down, they always like try to test the guys because they're saying if they can't stand up to you, then how are they going to stand up for you?
Yep. So people will say this thing, well, women like assholes. It's like, let's unpack that a little bit and understand what's going on. Okay. If she's pushing you around, she knows she's not the biggest threat out in the world. So if she's pushing you around, she's like, oh, I'm on my own here.
Like that's what I realized. I learned, back when I was, peaking my fame, womanizing or whatever. Sometimes I find out a girl had a boyfriend, I would be like, I like to know human nature. Like, why are you cheating? Expected to be as an asshole. And it was always every time. He's just too nice. He does whatever I tell him. That was just such a wake-up call to me. Like, wow. Like the exact opposite of what we're told. Like doing
exact
everything
opposite.
She says. But no regular guy would realize that's what turns a girl off because like, as they say, the guy will never stand up to me, do whatever I want. I'm just sick of it.
Yeah, and men are afraid of if they stand up to her, they'll lose her or something. And it's like, then she's not worth it.
You're more likely to lose a girl if you don't say no occasionally.
Or she's going to cheat on you or use you for your money or whatever. And it's like, you just need to be able to exert dominance. I know the feminists want to lie to you and say this isn't true, but then why are they all sleeping with the same? Why is everybody dating a psychopath? Because they're looking for a dominance,
No, it's 100% true.
And what you said, I think was accurate. Like you said, if you're not willing to die for this woman, you shouldn't be with her. But I will also say to women, because they don't think about this, if you don't want this guy's babies, if you look at that guy and you go, I would never want to have your kids, you shouldn't be with him.
That's a great point. No, because sometimes they're disgusted by these guys using them for money and stuff, but it's like they shouldn't be with this
disgusting.
guy.
You're a disgusting person. You're evil. And you should be totally shunned from society. That's how I feel about women who do that.
If you're not attracted to guys, they shouldn't be with them.
That was like something that I saw in some of my peers, and it disgusted me. Actually, I couldn't tolerate it because I could feel like I come from a culture where somebody does something for you, that you owe them.
Yeah,
and that's the code. Right.
I agree. I live by kind of the same code. It's not necessarily a favor for favor, but I always help out people that help me out. And I remember if I ask someone for a favor that I've done favors for and they can't do it, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So to me, it was the same thing when guys would offer to do things or pay for things or whatever. I felt this imposition like, oh shit, I'm going to owe you. And I was like, I'm not willing to give you whatever the heck it is that you want. So this is making me feel really gross and like I'm being molested right now. So I'm going to just be like really clear, like I'm not interested, And I couldn't understand because there would be all these videos of people being like, be careful, she just wants to use you for dinner. And I'm like, what woman would find that like $100 meal, let's say, was worth the pain of sitting through a meal with somebody you knew you had no interest in?
Yeah, that's sane to me. There probably are some women, but
no.
Totally crazy.
There's a lot of
Especially
women.
I think with like the dating apps and shit now, it's just like, I can
That's what's
swipe.
insane to me. There's a lot of women that do this. And I'm like, you have no self-respect. What happened to all this money that you're making that you don't need a man for? Like, how do you endure that also? Like, it's like such a fraudulent way of being in the world.
I think it's a big problem in a lot of like the big cities, places like New York. I live there. It's just so easy, so many options. That's why people are settling down way later. We kind of lie to ourselves,
which is a big mistake.
Doing it, and you don't
it's a
realize
big
how important
mistake.
kids are. Yeah, it's
yep.
Like,
and those things are a big mistake because people will pass up really good partners, being like, oh, I have time and there's so many fish in the sea. And you actually don't realize how rare it is to be able to find somebody you connect with, you have chemistry with, is a good person that you can trust and that you want to build a life with. It's not that common. And if you pass up on it, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to find that again very quickly. And if you're doing all this hooking up or whatever, that's time that you're not trying to find the person you're with. And it's sort of like eating candy when you're really hungry for a meal. If you keep eating candy, you're never going to eat a real meal because you're going to dull your appetite, right?
You get desensitized.
So that's what's going on, and it's sad. And I try to like really wake up women, but I get called a pick me. Oh, she's a pick me, and I'm like, first of all, I don't need to be a pick me. Okay. But when I was single, I got tons of messages. I didn't need to go out there and be like, look how cool I am. I'm literally saying this to try and help you, you dumb bitch.
No, there are the pick me girls I see on Twitter, but like I don't see you as one of them. There are
But
the
it-
girls
but
who are just
also-
trying to say the things that they know guys want to hear, but you're like being honest, trying to like.
I'm
tell
trying
the
to
truth.
help you because, believe it or not, I care about people who are good not getting lost in this brainwash propaganda that wastes their time in their life and they end up miserable. These people that are telling you, you go girl, have casual sex, it's so cool, they're evil.
No, I agree. I think even men a little bit have to look at it. It's not as extreme for men because we could settle down later. I think it's easier for us to like go through a crazy phase and then snap out of it. But men, the same problem sometimes. It's just like, oh, life's, why not, date 3 or 4 girls at once, have fun when like you could be having family and kids and moving for that direction.
And to me, if you think back at that time, right? Because, you went through it or whatever. I had my,
Yeah.
fun dating in New York. I think back at that time and I'm disgusted, number one, because I'm a woman. So
Yeah,
once
so
you
it's-
kind of return to your senses, you go, that's disgusting. And I'm going to repent from this every day of my life till I die. And then 2, what do I have to show for those days when I was going out and having fun? Nothing. It's like holding grains of sand in your fist.
I think as a guy, you don't feel like any disgust, but you do have like, oh, I could have more kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, guys don't feel disgust. I think, again, we're a little bit different.
It's biology.
We are a little different.
I could have 1,000 different kids. You can't. So it's biologically, of course, women should be more selective.
And the other thing too is like, I don't know what women think they're getting out of casual sex because, right? It's biologically different. You guys can just, achieve
Move
what you're
on,
trying to achieve, right?
Yeah.
In one act, doesn't matter who it is. Women, we're like a puzzle that you have to put together. And a guy you just met isn't going to care about putting that puzzle together.
No.
So what are you getting exactly?
No, yeah, exactly. Not. It doesn't make women happier. They've been lied to,
And
back
they
to
wake
the
up,
feminists.
they feel bad the next day. They tell themselves they feel bad because they were socialized to feel bad. They hide and ignore, they break that connection with themselves, and then there's like a kind of desensitization to your own humanity that happens after this. And it's like, I'm not the bad guy because I'm telling you the truth.
No, it's just the truth. People don't want to hear the truth is a problem. Like you said earlier, telling the truth is an act of like rebellion nowadays.
Yeah.
And do you think the attack on white people and feminism was kind of the same time period? It kind of was, huh?
Absolutely. I think it was just like the next level. There are levels to all of these things. And, it was the free love, like, hey, all those things that your parents told you not to do, they're really great and you should actually do them. And I mean, that's why I really do think like, I go in and out about the Christian worldview, but some of these things I'm like, this really kind of lines up with this good and evil Christian worldview because they, in the Christian worldview, they say that the devil promises you things that seem really appealing and they're like poison. But when you're first going into it, it tastes really sweet.
Everything you think you've always wanted.
Yeah, and it actually ends up destroying you. And you go, if I was God, right, and I'm an all-loving being, I would tell you the same thing. Don't do these things. It's not because I hate you and I don't want you to have any fun. It's because I'm an all-knowing being and I know what will happen to you if you do those things.
Yeah, they don't bring you happiness.
That's not the path. Here's the path. And okay, you tried the path. Would you come back onto the actual path? Because you're ruining your life.
Yeah.
And you don't get that in the mainstream because I think our mainstream is run by evil people. Whether you think the devil's real or not, these people do.
Yeah, they do. You realize that these elites are like, they have these weird ceremonies with like mulak and shit. Seeing that is like kind of like, it's bizarre. It's like they believe in it. Like,
They clearly
I'm unsure. I
believe-
used to not be religious, but it's like you start seeing this shit. People that run the world.
They clearly believe in at least the evil ideology. And they're doing everything that they're doing is exactly as described in the Bible, which is presenting to you as good that which is evil. And we know it's evil because of what results from it. I have never met a woman or a man who spent their whole youth just wasting it away on meaningless encounters, not having kids, not even if they built a career, but a lot of times not building a career, getting to 60 and saying, I'm glad I spent my life that way.
No one ever says that.
I've never seen people who do build a life, do have children. Sometimes the marriages don't work out, which is really tragic. Right. And that's a tragedy that we've come to accept as normal.
The kids not having both parents.
Right.
It used to be a big deal,
it's tragic.
But now it's not. And it's like terrible not raising your kids.
But even when that happens, I've never seen somebody get to 60 who has that and has kids and goes, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah, I've seen a few guys say they regret kids, but they're not 60. And then when I hear that, it's kind of like shocking to hear people like say that.
Yeah. Well, how old are their kids? Are they young?
I'm just thinking of a few guys I've heard say that. No, never my close friends ever, but I remember hearing guys say that before and being shocked. Like, how could you? But they probably still are going through the custody battle with the mom.
Well, maybe that could be it. That's a different thing that creates a whole, tragedy there going through a custody battle. Also, I can think maybe when you're young, when the kids are young, you might feel that way because you got to lose sleep or whatever. Yeah. I don't get it. I love kids. Like I see kids
they
and I'm like,
happy, I think. And that's why the ultimate evil is, hurting a kid. That's why these.
That's right. It's crazy.
They're pure and innocent. So the most evil thing you could do is hurt. Everyone should agree with that. When it hurts a kid, they should be like.
I agree
publicly.
I agree. But now we're being told that compassion is helping a kid castrate himself.
That's insane. That whole thing. And I went pretty hard against anything. That's pretty accepted now. It's still controversial. But when I first started going against it, it was like truly controversial. And that wasn't that long ago, like 4 or 5 years. There was really hardly anyone speaking on it. People act like they do now when something becomes popular. But it was like, I used to get so many death threats from these trannies, and they are truly mentally ill lunatics.
Behaving like men, aren't they? Right?
Yeah, right.
You don't do what they want, and they're like, we're going to kill you. I'm like,
Sounds like,
sounds like behavior, a man.
Right? They're completely fucking loony and think they can like go. People really want them in women's spaces and women's sports. And there was a swimmer who walked around with his like cock out, like strutting around. Like, it's just insane.
But so I agree with you. When I started doing comedy, that was 2019. And that was kind of when I started kind of thinking about what kind of voice I wanted to have. And I realized that I was very opposed to the trans thing. It had been like a few months where I realized this is wrong. And I was afraid to write a joke about it. Yeah. Because I was in the middle of New York City where it was peak, like basically Weimar Republic. And I did write the joke and I did it. And I was like, I felt the hostility of the audience who wanted to kill me. Dang. And people, now that's accepted, and I'm not saying I did it alone because I didn't, it was people like you and people like me and other people being willing to take the slings and arrows against the accepted speech to tell the truth.
That was a must for me, though. People were like, "Oh, is this the hill you want to die on?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." Because if we reject this, we're rejecting reality,
And
like,
that was the whole point.
It's this. It's just like they want us to reject reality. Exactly.
That was the whole point.
What we don't know up down if we don't know what's a man and a woman. They wanted just to look at something and just lie in front of the world. I just couldn't do that. But for the most part, people would always positively tell me, "Oh, I agree with you," like privately.
Same.
So it'd be in the same group of friends, like 3 would tell me privately. I'm like, you guys fucking all agree. No one believes this shit. People are just playing along with it. And luckily we kicked the door down, people like us.
Yep.
That's why it is important to speak up, because like on that one, it's still an issue, but we kicked the door down. For a second, it was truly controversial to like,
which is insane.
It's insane. Like,
because
it's insane.
And then you're 100% on the money with what they wanted to do. See, this was like they've done this before. It is a stated goal of Marxism. Yeah. They don't care that you don't actually believe it. Yeah. It actually is better that you don't actually believe it and that you are being forced to say the opposite of what you know is true, because now that creates a complete break in your own psyche where you have basically cucked yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like if a woman was with a man and the man has to, say something that the woman knows is not true, otherwise, they're going to die or whatever, that woman's going to look at that man, I mean, not die, but whatever, he'll get consequences. That woman is going to have a lower opinion of that man, and it breaks the bond. It's the exact same thing internally, where you would be breaking your own sense of integrity. That you just betrayed yourself for the sake of whatever the hell they're telling you.
Socially, that's what you're supposed to do at the time. You weren't supposed to socially be like, this isn't really a man.
And then they break your ability to resist any other thing they want to push on you. There's no barrier now.
I strongly agree. This is why I said this is a hill to die on, because, well, I strongly agree with it, but also if they break that down to anything, they were trying to tell guys.
You're right on the money with that.
They were telling guys, you could be dating a trans and they wanted you to go along. You could be straight and be dating a trans person. It's like, no, you're not straight if you're dating a trans person. You're dating a man, therefore you're gay.
I remember when they were doing that and they were telling men that if they didn't want to date a trans person,
You're transphobic.
they were transphobic and they were basically
Like,
evil.
yep, huge transphobe right here.
Yep.
But it's just so weird, the amount of people that were just, they knew that all was wrong, but they weren't standing up. But it does show you that we can make a difference with our speech, that it is important to speak up. I think, we were some of the early people speaking against Israel and some of the Jewish control in America. And there's been a massive swing, which I'm sure you've noticed too.
I have,
on the
yeah.
way. I used to get a ton of shit for that, like not very long ago, but the amount of people that are like, oh man, I thought you were crazy, but I kept seeing you tweet it, and because I respect you, eventually you won me over. I've heard hundreds, if not thousands of people tell me that.
Yep, that's why they want to silence us, because, that's why Netanyahu said the eighth front of the war was on social media and against people like us. So basically his war is against truth.
No, it really is.
And to me, that's an antichrist. I mean, whether or not you believe in Christ stands for truth, right? If you read the Bible, he says, I am the truth, the way, and the life. And anytime they talk about truth in the Bible, it's capitalized because it's supposed to refer back to God.
Interesting.
So that's what it means. That's why people died for their faith in Christ. They're dying for the truth.
Yeah.
And I never understood that before this time that we've just lived through, because I was like, okay, if they're going to kill you, just say whatever they want you to say and move on and live your life. And now I understand
It's like
it.
a rejection of God, going against what you know is true.
It's a rejection of God. It's a rejection of yourself. And it's a rejection of anything that makes life worth living. Now, why is it so important? It's not just your own life that's on the line. If you and I and everybody else who did this, who was part of this, did not stand up and take the slings and arrows for the trans thing, who was going to suffer?
Everyone, the women,
the kids,
everyone, the kids,
the kids then grow up in a world where the lies are being told as the truth, right? Mm-hmm. So now they don't even know what's true, which is very bad, right?
Yeah.
And their own bodies become part of the casualty, right? Because they might transition. So if you take that now to Christ, okay, and again, you don't have to go with, you think I'm right, but let's suspend disbelief for a second.
Yeah.
If Jesus Christ really was who he said he was, and he came down and sacrificed himself for the good of humanity and told them the truth about reality, this is what happens after you die, this is the way to have everlasting life, right? These people who are get threatened, and if they renounce what they're saying, right, so they can keep their own lives, if everybody does that, what happens?
The truth loses.
The truth dies, and the next generation does not come up knowing what's true. And if it's true, it's going to happen. So now everybody's doomed for eternity.
No, I think the truth is one of the most important things. That's why I can't just sit there and lie, even if it's a socially acceptable thing to do. I can't do that.
Yep. And we do have, I think you're right, we have a lot of cowards, and this is just the nature of humanity. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that.
It's so weird. Like, how would you want to live your life as a coward? Especially if you're a man. I mean, you're a girl with way more balls than all these guys. Like, how embarrassing is that to like these guys? Methylene blue has been used for over 100 years for medical purposes and recently surged back into popularity. It has been shown to help repair brain tissue and improve memory, cognitive function, energy, and mood. Research suggests that methylene blue could have neuroprotective effects, possibly aiding in conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and depression. Go to MerakiMedicinal.com and use the promo code FIGHTBACK for a discount. Hey guys, I'm a self-funded podcast, so if you want to support me and the work I'm doing, go to fightbackpodcast.com and you can buy cool merch like the shirt I'm wearing about the Rhodesia Resistance.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it's enough to rouse them to action, because the truth is, like, I'm fighting with the tools that a woman has, which is words, right? Mm-hmm. But if the war got kinetic, like,
No, the men ultimately have to step up, and that's
there's nothing I can do, to be honest. I mean, I could do some stuff with a gun or whatever.
yeah.
But,
No, they can't. But let's say it's men. It's our job to fight and protect women. That was another thing too in the trans thing. When men are like, "Oh, why do you care? Let the women deal with it. They're the one that created this mess." It's like it's our job to protect women. And if I have daughters and this shit's like it's our job as a man to protect women. It's just insane.
And you could say it's so funny how you could be like, the women created this mess, and it's like, who are the trannies?
Right. There's actually
the men, right?
There's actually a lot of women trannies. For some reason, the men get a lot more attention.
Yeah.
Like,
because the woman, because what? Okay. Because if a woman wants to transition to being a man, if they and says I want to play in your sports, who's really going to be threatened by that?
Well, they never do. They always play the women's sports.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's not true. In like a lot of the young schools, it was a big thing. Like my daughter's school and stuff. Like the young girls, they go through puberty. As a girl, there's that crazy age you go through and trying to figure out who you are. The weird thing. That's when they get a lot of the kids.
Yeah, so that's a big thing what you're talking about, and a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't know that it's happening.
It is a real issue, and I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen my friends lose their daughters.
It's tragic.
So I've seen this. Feel like, oh, it's not a real thing. It is a real thing.
No, it's a real thing. Cities. It's just not reported because they want to focus on the controversy of these because it's so obvious, right? But with the reason it's happening with the young girls, young girls, teenage girls especially, are very susceptible to these sort of social contagions, right? So we used to get eating disorders, right? That was a big social contagion with women, right?
Yeah, they were like bulimic or whatever.
Yeah, or it was cutting themselves. That also happened. But now it's this because we've established a whole new hierarchy. And at the bottom of the hierarchy are straight white people.
Yep.
And girls really don't like to be at the bottom of a hierarchy, right? They kind of want to be somewhere in the middle.
So if you're trans, all of a sudden you have social
all of a
status.
sudden you're the peak victim.
Teacher treats you better.
You're cool. Everybody's respecting you. And as soon as one girl does it, everybody else can do it.
Yep. Like, oh, I can do it too. I don't have to be a white girl. Because there's been major, I always noticed white men being a man, but there's been a major attack on white women too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
People
yeah.
are finally waking up a little bit, which is nice to see.
Yeah. And white women, look, I see the videos too with you guys, right? These stupid liberal white women who are campaigning for policies that literally are going to destroy them and are going to destroy their progeny, right? So it makes you furious because you're like, I want to smack you. But you have to remember.
It'd probably be good for them. But.
Yeah, I agree. And they'd probably fall in love with you if you did it.
True.
That's the truth, right? They didn't get this propaganda themselves, right?
Exactly.
They didn't start brainwashing themselves to a position that's bad for them. So if you're going to say, well, all white women deserve this because of this group of white women, then I can find the groups of white men who allowed this to happen and actually pushed it, right? Because I always say the people that benefit the most from feminism are men, actually.
Oh, it's probably true. It doesn't hurt us as bad because it's, like you said, you get girls still trying to work, and when you're a girls trying to sleep around, it's like easy for us.
She doesn't want anything from you.
You don't have any obligation. You don't have to
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's like it was hard before.
Take her to
dinner. You had to marry the girls and stuff. Now it's like that's why so many guys are like, oh, I can just get by with. I think it's really split though for men. It's like you're either one or the other. There's men that are struggling that aren't dating at all, or there's the guys that have date lots of girls. And girls, it doesn't help guys or the girls. The girls have fallen right into the trap.
Yeah, because a lot of these girls, they have this idea of their worth on the marketplace based on the top guy they've slept with.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because guys will sleep down several points, but they won't date down. So a girl will sleep with someone out of their league and be completely clueless to it.
Delusional,
think they could date this guy, but guys will sleep with girls they would never date. Women, typically, they're not trying to date a guy, but they wouldn't sleep with a guy that's out of their league. So like if a guy wanted to date a girl, a lot of times he probably could pursue her and do it if she's sleeping with you. But men would date women they would never, ever consider dating.
Yeah, and they don't get that. And a woman's ego is pretty fragile, despite, you've heard all about the male ego. The woman's ego is far more fragile. Yeah. And she could not handle the truth of knowing what her actual marketplace value is. And so she will, boost it in her own brain, and all her other fat friends will boost it for her too.
You look good.
Yeah,
girl.
or ugly friends, right? Because they usually kind of hang out together in the same level of attractiveness, and tell her how this guy's not worth it, he doesn't deserve you, and all this crap. And then, kind of shun these other guys who would probably be better candidates for a long-term partnership, where they would honestly be happier.
Yeah.
You know?
Women do get delusional of that type of stuff. I think men are a little more honest with it because from a young age, typically we have to struggle to try to figure out how to get girls. Girls
Right.
from a young age typically have guys, if they're decent looking, trying to sleep with them. Even if they're not, they get like losers.
Even if you're not decent looking.
Yeah, some of these guys will sleep with anything.
Even if you're not decent looking, there's a bunch of Mexicans who will have sex with you. So
And they're after women for like the 12, they start hollering at them. Well,
yeah, it's true.
What were
yeah.
those girls that slept with like 1,000 guys each? Like who is like guy number
Bonnie
like
Blue
who
or
is
something?
guy like number 700? What kind of low self-esteem loser?
Probably guys who don't get laid, and it's gross. It's disgusting. I mean, that woman should be in jail. If this was a proper society, she would be in jail.
Maybe stoned her.
That's true.
I didn't realize there was two of them for a while. And there was
there's
girls
two of them.
There's
Oh,
two of them that
great.
looked just the same. Bonnie Blue was one, and there's another one that they were. I didn't realize for a while. There's two of them that looked like basically identical, two blonde girls, and they were like
Wow.
competing with who could sleep with the most men.
It's disgusting.
It's absolutely disgusting.
That's not
and
really a
vile.
real competition. That's not a real competition. It's not hard for women to get men to sleep with them.
No, it's not. Like guys will like
You know?
a girl can go out any night and bring a guy home.
You want to have a real competition? Let's see how many quality men you can get to marry you. Quality men.
Yeah, that's probably pretty.
They don't want to do
difficult.
that competition because that competition's actually hard. And then you might have to face the reality that the level of man you can get isn't a billionaire or whatever the hell it is you think you want.
And there could be really attractive girls too that look really good, but the personality is not good. So they could sleep with guys out of the league, but when it comes to dating them, guys are like, I'm not dealing with your
I've
bullshit.
heard these stories too. You know, I have brothers and male friends, and they tell. I mean, I know there's no such thing as real male friends, but I heard these stories. You know, and it's like I have done this like in person and whatever. Like I've had, female comedians that I've hung out with. Which, by the way, ladies, like, just stop, please
Stop talking about your pussies.
Just stop trying. Look, I know it's kind of a contradiction because I'm a female comedian. I never wanted this life, okay? I never asked for this. I was shoved into it by difficult,
Like you're funny, you have to go into it.
difficult circumstances in my life, and it made me funny. That's what happened, okay? I never wanted it. Most people should not be doing comedy across the board, men and women.
Yeah.
There's too many shitty comedians.
I agree.
And especially most women.
No, I would agree.
You want to use it a tool to go find your husband? Fine. But once you find that, like,
Get the hell out.
you don't need to be on here trying to tell like another vagina joke.
It's just humiliating that women, they just do the same, just ripping on their pussies. Like they're not going to see men go up there like making fun of their dick. It's so weird. Like
No, but the more important thing is you're not going to find the fulfillment that you're looking for, And I know that, like, I'm not like super successful. I mean, I'm pretty good as a stand-up comedian. Like I can make my living off of stand-up comedy. I tour. I have like some good level of success. Yeah. And even I'm like, this isn't the end all be all. And if I had to choose between whether I was going to do this and become mega huge star, whatever, or be a mom, I'm picking being a mom.
No, it seems like an easy one, or it should be, but it's like not.
Hands down, picking being a mom. Hands down.
Well, honestly, touring all the time and stuff, that's got to be exhausting.
Well,
but nowadays you could do stuff like online, like you have a big YouTube.
Yeah, I could do
now
it
you're building
online
up
and do.
What's your YouTube, by the way, so people can?
Oh,
since you
Leonarda.
mentioned it,
Yeah,
you put your name in, it'll pop up, right?
Yeah, Leonarda is funny.
I watched a few videos in there. I
Yeah.
saw like, okay, you got a pretty big YouTube. So
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram.
Which is good.
X.
You can build money other ways now besides having to tour and stuff if you're funny.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love stand-up. I probably will never quit. That's the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying if I had to choose.
Yeah.
Because I thought about this like a few years ago, Whitney Cummings was the big female comedian at the time, and this was before she had her baby, so congrats to her. Like, that's awesome, right? But I thought about where she was. She's peak, super successful, has all the money, everything. She didn't have a family. She didn't have like a person she loved. She didn't have a kid. And I was honest with myself. I said, okay, that's the peak, right? That's the peak. How would you feel if you had all that, but you didn't have a husband and children? And I said, I would be really depressed.
Yeah, you don't want to be like Chelsea Handler.
I would be really depressed.
Like, oh, I'm so happy, but you can just see she's not.
I would be depressed. That's the truth. And that right there told me about what my real values were. And, I think that men would probably feel that way too.
No, exactly. Kids. Well, I think we need career too.
You guys need career
but it's also
because
we need purpose and
you need purpose and that's how you support your family.
Yeah.
But if you just were peak, Jeff Bezos level with no kids, no person who really loves you, a woman who looks like a tranny.
That's one ugly bitch for a guy so rich. Like, how did a guy that rich?
Because she'll do whatever he wants sexually. That's why.
He probably was a dork, never had any.
Yeah.
First time he got some good sex. And
That's kind of like women can really control a man with sex.
Especially if guys have never I guess that's the one advantage for guys sleeping with a few girls. Otherwise, the first time a girl has good sex, you're like, oh my God, I'm in love.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not in love. You're just.
But you also would not choose that, And even though I do feel like I need purpose, like I feel like, kids are a part of that and there's more, right? Because there's things I care about in society. It's still like we've been told that you're going to get everything you need. Basically, you're going to get salvation from your career by being as successful as you can. And it's not true.
No, it's not. Like, people have been lied to. I think it's important to have these conversations because people realize they've been lied to from a young age, especially our generation. I think the young people are getting a little more truth pushed to them.
Yeah, for sure. Which thank God, right? Because how long could we go on like this?
My other daughter's older, so it's like, I think there is a huge change right now of this young generation Z. They're pushing more right wing. They're having these conversations. They're being a little more realistic. Earlier, you mentioned the girls thinking they could date a billionaire. I just remembered I was on a show with Myron and a couple other guys, one of those terrible shows, all those girls. And somehow a billionaire came up. I was like, I dated a billionaire. We were laughing. And every girl on the show, I go, how many of your girls dated a billionaire? Every girl there on the show said they dated a billionaire. But there's really 350 billionaires in the country.
Yeah, they all dated the same billionaire.
It shows how delusional these girls are and how out of touch with money and worth. So basically, I could just tell girls I'm a billionaire and they'd probably believe it.
That's what I was going to say. Either they all dated the same one or they were lied to because you could rent these things.
They're probably lied to. I think it's just girls have no
clue
of money.
Again, right? That's like one of those. I go back to sort of this Christian experience of humility, right? There's a story about I think it was the Virgin Mary was appearing to 3 different figures, right? Mm-hmm. And it appears to one guy in Islam or an angel or something appeared to a guy in Islam, and he was like, oh yes, this is great. Then it appeared to some other faith, and then it appeared to a Christian, and he said, sorry, you must have the wrong guy because I'm not worthy of this. And then instantly it was revealed that was actually a demon, right? So what was the moral of that was that the guy knew himself enough, was humble enough to, it's called testing the spirits, and say, if an angel is appearing to me, I know who I am, right? I'm like this sinner. There's no way they got the wrong person, right? And if it was real, right, that testing wouldn't have done that. But so all these girls, like if a guy came up to me, he's like, I want to date you, I'm a billionaire. I'd be like, I think you got the wrong girl because this is where I'm at in my life and billionaires want a certain thing. So you got the wrong girl here. And it's that humility saves you from tragedy, is the truth. It's not because God wants you to have low self-esteem. It's because he wants you to have an accurate measure so you don't get lied to by demons.
Right, by all these guys pretending like they're billionaires. They're total douchebags.
Right.
They notice too, obviously some girls are gold diggers, but I think they get over-exaggerated a little bit. Because I've noticed all the guys that complain about gold diggers are guys that constantly talk about all the money they make. And it's all you have no personality. All you do is
it's the same thing.
Girl stuff. It's you're hunting these girls down is why you're finding gold diggers because you have no actual game.
Yeah. And also, I love Myron and the guys and everything, but you guys complain about the feminism that is giving you the ability to sleep with all these girls that you say you have a right to sleep
he complains
to.
About the girls more than me, and I hated. I did a couple of those shows with him. I hated him. It is funny listening to him just go off on them, but to me, it's
totally funny to listen to him go off on them. But at a certain point, you got to realize you're part of the same problem that you're supposedly trying to solve. I mean, I got into it with I was like a guest on Pearl's show. And apparently Pearl only has black male listeners or something.
Really? Interesting.
I mean, maybe. But there were the other panelists were all these black males who are going off about women and all this stuff. And I made what I think is a valid point that I think a lot of people don't realize is, if you want your woman to be this demure, unstained, virginal, loyal, all that stuff, you've got to keep her in the domain of the private.
Yeah.
That's something that was known. The domain of the private was the woman's domain, and the domain of the public was the man's domain. And when you are each in your own domain, it's easier to do the things that you're supposed to do. So if the woman's home raising the kids, tending to the village and the family, right? The communal life. It's hard for her to go be a whore, right? And be a boss bitch and all this stuff. But you don't want to do that because it shoulders a huge amount of responsibility on you. So you want her to be in the world like a man, having to do business, having to earn money,
Working for a man,
but she's got to have all the qualities of the woman in the private sphere. It's not going to work that way. And he got very upset and was like, women have always, you think it's been like women didn't work or all this stuff. And I go, for the most part, I'm not saying women didn't work.
Ways, like
they worked in
home,
different ways. Like my grandmother was quote unquote a trad wife. She had to do a lot of farm work and housework and all of that. Nobody's saying that. But her domain was the domain of the home. She wasn't going to the market every week and interacting with men.
You're not putting your girl all these places where they're working for a guy, especially if they're taking orders from a guy. The natural thing is, she might end up hooking up with him. It's kind of the natural order. It seems like common fucking sense, but
why do men do that? Because they're in the sphere. They're in the public sphere. They're interacting all the time. So to me, I was like, you're a little bitch who doesn't want responsibility, but wants all of the accolades. And so the problems are twofold. If you want, women have certainly become wild. Okay. The state supports them on every level. If you don't do the littlest thing that they want, they can divorce you, take the kids, take everything. And that needs to be fixed. But also, dudes are out there enabling this shit. You're supporting, you're simping out for these women, you're sleeping with these women, you're giving them things, you're not wanting to be the male provider protector that you're supposed to be. So she's going to keep being the woman in the streets.
Yep, exactly. The red pill, I think they have some real, valid arguments, of course, but for the most part, it's just guys being feminists, like whining about things, being kind of a little bitch. It's like, you have some real complaints. So it's not they don't have any real complaints, but they take it way too far.
But to me, it's almost like, when black people complain about slavery and I'm like, okay, if it's so bad here, then how come you won't go live in Africa? And then you realize, like, if I gave you the ability to press a button and slavery would have never happened, you wouldn't do it.
No, of course not.
Because then you wouldn't be here. And it's the same thing with these red pill guys. If I gave you a button to press a button and then and feminism would have never happened, you wouldn't do it. Because then you wouldn't be able to sleep with all these women that you're complaining about.
No, it's true. And I just think the whole men versus women thing, it just causes, I don't think it's really a good argument. And
it's stupid.
It's been pushed, feminism and red pill, to have us fighting amongst each other when it shouldn't. It should be a natural order of the man leading. And like you said, most women, they know they want that too. Whatever they tell you deep down, they know that's what they want. Absolutely. They don't want to have to fucking lead and make the decisions. And
it's horrible. When you're in that kind of a relationship as a woman, you start to feel like a man. You start to act like a man. You start to look like a man. And no woman wants that.
Women hate making decisions. Men need to just fucking make a decision. Like the girls who don't know, like just make a decision. If the both of you saying like, I don't fucking know, that's not good.
Yeah, that's why, you'll see all these like sort of liberal women who will be with these liberal men, and the relationship is always abusive with her towards him. She's always yelling, nagging, henpecking, and it's because she doesn't respect you.
Exactly. I said these are the women that are always cheating because they don't respect the guy.
Cheating or just being completely,
whatever,
being unpleasant to be around. A woman kind of has to trust your ability to lead. Right now, I know some women are just, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah, there's definitely crazy.
Leave those bitches to themselves.
100% there are women that are worth complaining about, but it's like, don't date those chicks. They're definitely crazy girls, but there's lots of good girls out there too. And guys, but it's a guy's responsibility to fucking lead, so she's not some crazy bitch.
Yeah, and when
there's some that are just not worth trying to save for sure. But for the most part, if you fucking lead, a girl's gonna follow.
Yep, and we like that, by the way. And for the girls, I'd say, you got to date somebody that you would trust to follow. Right?
Exactly. You have to. It's got to be someone competent. So they can't just be like, follow a man's lead, and some fucking incompetent guy leading you to who knows where.
And that pretty early on, right? So, you might be like, he's good looking or whatever, or I like how much money he has. But if you don't trust his decision-making process, like that's not the guy for you. No. And it the thing is, it gets harder for a woman the smarter and more confident you are.
No, I think a lot of times the women actually have more trouble dating when they make more money, more intelligence. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but in some sense it is. That's been
It's
marriage has
just-
declined as women have made more money. Because
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to date men and they're making more money, so it makes it kind of complicated.
But that's like, see, that's the thing with that. Like, I don't even think that's so much as a problem. Like these women making more money need to realize that that's not really correlated to competence right now in this time period, in this market.
Yeah.
So humble yourself a little bit and shut the fuck up.
I think, like I said earlier, I think less girls are gold age to think. I think if a guy is working hard, and girls can respect a guy making less if he's working his ass off and he's making good decisions in the right direction. Overall, you definitely want to be making more as a man, but girls also respect a guy who's a good leader, who gets respect from other men.
Yeah.
These type of things are important.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be harder because that's the like ultimate dynamic setter, right? How much money you make. But, there's some women have had to you have to face the reality that like, there's only so many guys on the level that are higher than you.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are going to be taken or not want you. So I know every woman thinks, not me.
They can get the billionaire.
I'm going to get the one. It's like, sweetie, no, you're not. Okay. For the most part, no, you're not. Yeah, I'm going to be the one. If you're not the one by now, if you haven't been pursued by now, you got to face the reality.
Maybe you could be the side chick.
Yeah. And some of them are actually okay with that, which is insane.
It's kind of crazy. Like tons of like attractive girls are totally fine being.
Yeah, like that Sadia Khan. I don't know if you saw this.
Actually,
that happened a little while ago. She's like some kind of dating coach. She's a very good looking kind of. I think she's Pakistani woman. She's mixed or whatever.
Not Indian.
Not Indian. She's a good looking woman, and she would do all these like. She did a whole dating coach thing for
Telling
men.
girls their self-worth. Or
For men, telling men how to get a high value.
I'll never listen to a girl's advice. That's the worst fucking thing you could do. Girls don't know anything about dating girls.
Yep. But they would be like, how to find a high value woman. And then turns out she was like a side bitch
see something about that.
to some guy. And it was like, yeah, I mean, they're all liars. They're all lying.
Girls don't know what the hell they want, so don't listen. Let's hit something controversial. What do you think
Let's do it.
Netanyahu doing like he released like 3 videos saying that he didn't kill Charlie Kirk like right away? It's a little fucking weird.
Very suspicious behavior. I mean, look, as soon as Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and I had seen some videos, I think, okay, first of all, when it happened, I was totally distraught.
It was terrible. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Charlie Kirk, I thought that was terrible. People were, like celebrating it was just disgusting.
I had criticized him for being so pro-Israel because
same.
I was like, I know the truth about that country, and I know that they don't care about us, and I know that they bombed like the USS Liberty and they take all our money and they think Americans are stupid goys. So I'm not in support of this. I was openly critical. Now, what I had not seen were the videos that he from 2023 where he started to ask questions, which I would have never expected from him given his track record. But even before I saw that, I don't know why, but when I saw him get shot and I found out that he had died, I just burst out crying. I was bereaved. I couldn't understand why, because here's somebody I wasn't even necessarily a huge fan of. But I felt a kind of sorrow and grief.
I felt really bad, even though I wasn't a fan either. I felt like, man, I can cry, but I felt a really like disgust. I sent out something that I was like praying for him and his family, and I had some people attacking me over it. I was like, fuck you.
Fuck like, those people.
He's a Zionist. It's just like, have some humanity.
It's a like, human being, and he was one of ours. That's the end of the line. He was campaigning for America, for the things that made America America, and defending it against this Marxist ideology that's seeking to destroy it. So we lost a real person who's not going to be easily replaced.
No, he was a powerful guy, and it seems like he was waking a little bit to the Zionist issue.
He was, and so when I started to kind of see some of these videos, it immediately clicked for me I think it was by the end of the day where I was like, they killed him. And they killed him because I think they had some knowledge that we didn't have, that he was turning. And I knew that if he turned, he was going to take all of TPUSA, which is a hugely powerful organization. And that was going to be done for Israel. That's it.
And it becomes hard for the politicians to keep supporting him. It turns everything.
The
politicians, that's the youth coming up. If they turn on him, they're already having a hard time. The politicians are already struggling to support Israel. And if TPS, if those guys turn on them, they're really screwed.
So it was going to be done, right? And I said, they couldn't risk it. because if they waited, he was going to turn, right? And then if they killed him at that point, it would have been obvious. There's no story that's going to cover it up. And I said, people are going to see this, right? And of course not. And I go, oh, he was smart. Netanyahu knew that he needed to do it at a certain time where you could create enough plausible deniability that it was this lone lunatic trans Tifa furry boyfriend shooter. And look, we didn't have anything to do with it. He had these enemies, right? So I knew. And then, the stuff started coming out. People started saying things, and I was like, oh, I hadn't seen that. His video talking about October 7th on Patrick Bet David.
There was one from the day before, I think. What was he saying? It was something super anti-Israel. Was on Megyn Kelly, like literally I think the day before he got shot.
Where he was talking about how he's getting so much pressure from his donors and that he can't criticize Israel. Then I found out about the $150 million that he turned down.
That's crazy, yeah. From Netanyahu,
and I was like, okay, guys, do you think somebody like Netanyahu, who doesn't hesitate to bomb hospitals full of children, offers you $150 million, you say no, and he just says, okay.
Right. His ego doesn't like it. I mean, he goes and bombs Qatar, our ally. We have our largest military base in the Middle East. Doesn't tell Trump, uses planes that we gave him, their radar can't detect them, flies right by our base and bombs the people in the middle of a peace conference to trying to get peace with between Palestine and Israel, and bombs them.
Because he doesn't want
fuck
peace.
You to Trump.
Yeah.
Just mocks us. So why wouldn't this guy come and assassinate someone in our country?
So that's the thing. If somebody's willing to pay you $150 million to say what they want, and you say no, do you think that they're not also willing to kill you?
Well, particularly because Israel has the highest history of assassinations. There's literally Wikipedia. These are the known ones. There's 3,000 known ones they've done. And I'm sure thousands of other ones. And they go and do them in Europe, the Middle East. They're just so brazen. They hit assassinations everywhere. And I'm still undecided on this issue, but I think ultimately Israel should automatically be a suspect in pretty much every assassination. It's the history of doing it. And there's some weird things like that Jew that started saying, I killed him. So the guy, that was fucking weird.
Come on, guys. He just happens to be Jewish?
Yeah, there's pretty much no Jews in, where were they at? Utah. I looked it up. It was I think one out of every 600 people or something are Jewish. What are the odds?
And then it's when they killed Kennedy and they tried to put it on Jack.
Ruby,
no,
they put it on Oswald.
Right, they put
Jack
it on Oswald, and he said, I'm a patsy, and then Jack Rubenstein kills him, and then he tells his rabbi, I did it for the Jewish people.
Literally
and then somebody's interviewing the rabbi, and the rabbi says, oh, he told me he did it for the American people. And then somebody goes, wait, I thought he said he did it for the Jewish people. And then the rabbi goes, yeah, that's what he said. I'm trying to forget it. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what he did and why he did it, and you know that somebody else. So you first try to cover it up, then you're caught, and you go, well, I'm trying to forget it. So it's just too many things.
Every aspect of Kennedy, the motive, because that's what he was trying to shut down their nuclear plant, and he was trying to shut down. It wasn't called AIPAC at the time, but what turned into AIPAC, and he was adamant they shut both those down. And Ben-Gurion, he was the prime minister. He resigned right when he got the letter from Kennedy, and he got shot a couple months later.
There you go. Well, I found out.
I think people from the ADL had brought him there. It was a guy that filmed the tape.
Yep. ZapRecruiter.
They owned the building that he was shot from.
Yep.
It's every aspect from it.
And I found out recently that the Israelis had stolen something out of Pittsburgh.
For the nuclear weapons.
For the nuclear weapons.
Stole is it the plutonium?
I think so, and it was out of Pittsburgh, and JFK...
uranium they stole, I think is what it was.
I think so, and then JFK was... uranium, you're right, it was uranium, and JFK was investigating for them, and then that's why he got shot.
Yep. No, they're willing to do... they tried to kill President Truman. No one even knows about that. They tried to assassinate him through mail bombs. It's
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, no one knows about that one, but you could look it up. They sent mail bombs to him. This was right before they wanted him to declare Israel a country. He wouldn't do it. Then they sent mail bombs, bombed him. And he's the first president to say, oh, they're a country.
Yeah, it's a terrorist state. And they invented terrorism, and then they invented this idea that it's the boogeyman Muslim terrorists who are doing this.
Hollywood, they complete control of Hollywood.
Yeah, the same way they invented that the mafia is Italian. Meanwhile, the biggest mafia, I think it's called Cosa Nostra. I think, if don't quote me on that, is the Israeli mob.
Yeah, the leader of the mob was the Meyer Lansky.
Yeah.
He was like the godfather, but instead they make it out to be Italian.
Because that's what
Like,
they do.
There was Italian mafia too. Like Vegas was, either Italians and Jewish people, but a lot of these casinos are Jewish. The first big one was, what was the first big one? I think it was Flamingo. That was the first one on the Strip. That was, who was the guy? It wasn't Meyer Lansky. He was one of the guys that worked for him, Bugsy Siegel. He went and strong-armed it for someone.
Yep.
And so he had that going eventually.
Yeah, and it's still now, now we've got Miriam Adelson, who owns like casinos here. She's worth something like $20 to $40 billion. She gave Trump $100 million. She's a big Zionist. What do you think? She gave him $100 million just so they could like hang out?
Mm-hmm. It was weird too how all these people are all the biggest donors on both sides. It's like I don't know if they're so willing to fight for their people, or maybe their government's helping them get this money almost through like shady deals.
Sure, and their government's getting, this is the irony, their government's getting that money from us.
Oh, we're sitting over there.
They're taking our money and using our money to bribe our politicians to do what they want. And it's not going to end well for America. Like all these politicians who are selling out, I mean, you guys are useful idiots. You really don't understand this.
No, it's
like
it's treason to me. It's
the plan, and I really recommend that people read this book from Father Seraphim Rose called Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future. It's a great book. He was a Orthodox monk, American, who converted and became a monk or whatever. And the book is excellent because in it, he talks about how the plan is to rule the world from the seat of Israel. It's not just we want to go there and have our own country and be fine, because if that was really what it was, they wouldn't be willing to kill their own people.
Yeah, because they'll sacrifice their own.
They'll sacrifice. That's what they did on October 7th. Mm-hmm. And and they don't want a ceasefire. They want to build the greater Israel, from which they will destabilize the United States first, because it's the biggest threat, as well as the rest of Europe, which is happening now with all the migrations. I'm sorry, but a bunch of desert dwellers didn't figure out how to get themselves to Europe and destroy Europe without help from someone from the inside.
And America too. That was a wake up call for me when I started realizing, again, like I don't hate all Jews. I shouldn't have to say that, but it's like
you have to say that because whenever you make a legitimate criticism of somebody doing something wrong who happens to be Jewish,
it's a lot of them that are. So it's like fucking many of them.
It's a lot of gaslighting and deflection. So you're having an issue with, you're taking our money, you're bombing these kids, you're destroying things, you're bringing immigrants, and they don't want to address that because that's actually legitimate things to have issue with. They want to focus on the fact that you're attacking a Jewish person and then accuse you of being race blind and just hating all Jews, which is ridiculous.
But so many of them do it is the problem. It's like, it's a high percentage. So like I have friends still, but there's so fucking many that are all doing it. When I realized the attack on the white man, I hated, the whites that would attack whites. And I realized one day someone sent me that screen and realized like, oh fuck, it's all Jews.
All those books.
They go back and forth between being Jewish and white. That was like what the fuck?
Yep. That's when they're pretending to be white. Well, they talk about how we white people have to stop having kids and all this stuff. And then somebody attacks them later for being white and they go,
Jewish.
I'm not white, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
And I go, that's interesting. Are you preaching in the synagogues? Are you telling the to not have kids because they're white and they're evil?
Nope.
No.
No, it's crazy. The whole media, the BLM, it's always the same people behind it. The immigration, like the number one immigration organization was it Haas? And who was the guy that ran that? They put him ahead of as soon as Biden got in, they put him ahead of immigration. I can't think of the guy's name right now.
I know who you're talking about. The bald guy.
Yeah. Anyways, that clown.
Mayorkas.
Yeah, that was
Mayorkas.
Yeah. He was getting like grilled in Congress, and then someone was grilling him, and he goes.
And then there's George Soros,
Holocaust survivor.
Yep. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Shut the fuck up.
I remember that. And then there's George Soros on the other side, and then there's Barbara Lerner Specter. I mean, it's clear. It doesn't make you once again, telling the truth does not make you racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic, misogynist. You have been conditioned to hear these words and shut down critical thought, because if you had critical thought, then you would have to realize what the truth is, and the truth is very difficult to look at.
Mm-hmm. I think all those words came up by people, which was funny too.
Yes, they did.
Anti-Semitic,
the word racist was invented by Jewish person, the word melting pot, all of this stuff, misogynist, transphobe, the whole thing.
The trans people, the clinics.
All of it. And then here's the other thing too.
You're not supposed to have these conversations.
A lot of these, people don't know this, but the whole LGBT ideology was created by a couple of French philosophers. They were Michael Foucault, right? He was Jewish. And they were the whole thing is pro-pedophilia.
Jesus.
That's the end game. So when people...
It is the end game. I remember thinking that was bullshit when someone told me that. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous.
You have to just go read all these documents from these quote-unquote French philosophers who were pushing for the LGBT propaganda, and in them they are specifically talking about how
that's the end game.
The age of consent is should be dependent on the mental acuity of the child.
That's a really mature 3-year-old.
Yes. And Michael Foucault, the French pedophile gay dude who's Jewish, I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look that up, would go to Tunisia.
I'm just assuming he is now.
They would go to Tunisia. He would go to Tunisia all the time, where he would rape little boys because there was no age of consent there. He could do whatever he wanted.
Just pay some of the rich people.
So this is the foundation of the LGBTQ phenomenon that we're dealing with. It is inextricably linked with pedophilia. So stop gaslighting us and telling us that we're homophobes for saying this. There is a reason that gay couples adopt little boys.
No, that's when I started noticing they always adopted boys. That's when I was like, wow, this is dark. Things you don't want to believe is true. You start realizing it likely is.
Yeah. And of course, we also have our own, lunatics like Bill Clinton and the like, who did horrendous things to kids.
Yeah, out in Epstein Island, who knows what. I think he flew like 25 times with him or something. That's like crazy.
And I think that Bill was probably more into like 17-year-old girls
probably
or whatever.
Women, not boys.
But it's still like disgusting. And also, like, you're the president of the United States. You could get any girl. You don't have
that Monica Lewinsky. Do you know that she was also Jewish?
Yes.
And it was set
the
up
whole
by,
thing was a Jewish.
Benjamin Netanyahu. Yep. They leaked it to the Drudge Report.
Yep. So that he could sign the North American Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah, that, and he also wanted him to pardon this guy, Jonathan Pollard, who was like a top spy.
Oh.
And he was going to do it, but then like his chief of staff and stuff, I think, said, no, you can't. No way you can pardon that guy. We'll walk. So instead they leaked it.
Wow.
They probably had darker shit on him too. That was probably like the warning.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was. I think they probably did have darker stuff.
Like, this is light. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, because I was like, why wouldn't he just admit? It was a woman, and everybody would have just been like, all right, we'll move on.
Yeah, no one really fucking cares.
Well, it's because they probably had worse shit. They probably had him on video fucking kids or something.
They wanted to drag him, show the power they could do.
Yeah.
You start seeing these fucking patterns. You're supposed to keep my eyes closed, pretend like I don't see it.
I know, because otherwise you're the bad guy. And this is one of the things that they have totally weaponized. They've weaponized attacking the person who tells the truth as opposed to attacking the person who's doing the heinous thing that you're telling the truth about.
Yeah, they're like raping and killing kids, and I'm not supposed to tell the truth. Or they're cutting the dicks off kids and just doing evil shit, and I'm evil for speaking up on it.
Yeah. Or this happened in Britain. I mean, you guys got to get that they are wanting your genocide. That's it. This is not a conspiracy theory. Like in Britain, there were these. I think there was like a Arabic migrant who raped a girl, like a young girl, and there were like 3 British men who were part of the people protesting because he had gotten like a really short period of imprisonment. They arrested those 3 British men who were protesting the rape and gave them more time in jail than the rapist.
That's insane.
Okay. There was another one where this migrant was in charge of taking care of, I think she was like 87-year-old woman. And the son had installed a hidden camera and caught him raping his mom. Wow. Okay. And the guy confessed once it was camera. And the company that sent the migrant said, if you don't remove the cameras, we're not sending you another home health aide. And the guy can sue you for illegally filming him.
What the fuck?
Everybody who's involved with this decision should be guillotined.
Yeah, I agree. Publicly. There was also one, I don't know the details behind it, but there was they were covering up the rape games for like Pakistani rape games for years. I think it was like hundreds of women, and the police were helped cover it up.
Yep. And why?
Because they won't be racist, probably.
No, because there were Pakistanis in the police force. They had a Pakistani mayor. These people have moved up. This
so
happens
they're
every
covering
single
for their own.
time. Go look at the juries in America. Okay? The black jurors refuse to convict a black defendant even when the evidence is overwhelmingly clear.
O.J. Simpson. They celebrated it. That was kind of
Every
crazy.
ethnic group sides with their own ethnicity except for
And
whites.
we go against our own. We go the opposite direction
Yes.
where we'll throw someone in jail who's not guilty, like the
like Derek Chauvin.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, especially for I think they got him for like second-degree murder. They maybe could have got him for manslaughter at the most, but second-degree murder is insane.
It's insane. But that was
means he
to,
like
to
trying
appease the
It means he
masses.
intentionally killed him. I think they convicted of. There's no way he intentionally killed him. That's just pure insanity. There's another one. Some guy was like robbing some houses, and a dad and son went to go confront the guy, and he ran at him.
I know who you're talking
They
about.
said he was like a jogger. And the guys are doing like I think 5 life sentences. Like we always vote against ourselves.
And it's come out that this guy, they had video of him, this guy that they killed, actually robbing other places.
Yeah, I know that it was obvious, but we go against ourselves. Every other racial group, I have a lot of friends that are minorities, and that's something I've noticed. They always help each other because, they'll give like the Afghan discounts, the Chinese discounts. They go out of their way to help the other people, and we do the opposite.
We do the opposite because
We've been programmed to do that.
I think we've been programmed, but also I do think that white people have a greater capacity for empathy. And it doesn't stop with our own tribe.
Yeah, I think, I have a lot of friends, minorities, so it's like I can have these close friendships, but then when you see they're working together and we're working against each other, that's when I start realizing, okay, we do have a problem.
Yeah, we do have a problem, and it needs to change because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The whites who aren't going to do it are going to die out. That's what's going to happen. Your empathy and your altruism will be used against you, and you will die out, and so will those genes. And what will be left will be the whites who are willing to take their own side.
And there's not really much time left to fight it. Like
You've got a maximum. I'm telling you, you got a maximum of 10 years, and it's more likely looking like 5 to 6.
Well, I actually talked to a couple of white nationalists. You're not supposed to talk to these guys. And
Yeah,
after
why
I
not?
talked to them, I realized they made so much sense. Like David Duke, Thomas Russo. I went and talked to some of these guys. You're not supposed to have interviews with them. And some of these points they make so good of like showing like how fast these countries have changed demographics. That's when I had to realize, oh shit, they are trying to get rid of all white countries. There'll be no white countries in the world left, and that's kind of sad.
It's not kind of sad.
Extremely
it's
sad,
tragic.
Yeah. So
it's tragic.
realization, that's why they don't want you having these conversations, because when they put it in front of you, the evidence, it's like, holy shit, this is real. This is not some fake anti-Semitic conspiracy.
Yep. And then where will all the poor refugees go when there's no whites left to help them learn how to farm?
And then you see this deliberately planned back in, I can't remember the guy's name, but more Jewish people.
Are you talking about the...
what do they call that? They had plans basically to mix, there's multiple.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
People involved, the melting pot, then there's the mixing, getting all the people to come.
Yeah,
to the
they're trying to
countries,
make one. Their whole point
one
was to make
race,
one Eurasian.
except the Jewish people. Yeah,
They said Eurasian negrified person so it was just going to be like a total mix of like Black, Asian, European, and nobody would be anything really, and then they could rule those people easily. That was the point.
Easier to control them.
Yeah.
They also keep us divided a lot, which is another problem with a bunch of different races. Easier to get the white people versus the black people. They get different people infighting amongst each other. Christians versus Muslims. You're not paying attention to who is really the enemy.
Well, yeah, I think they definitely stoke those, but this is something that I hear all the time. When I start campaigning for white people and I call out the anti-white sentiment, I show all of these black people who are openly doing it. They film themselves saying these things. They do it. They go, oh, they just want you. That's what they want. They want you to focus on this. I go, no. This is happening.
Yeah.
Nobody made this person, kill a white kid just because he wanted to.
Yeah.
this is happening. These races hate you. Whether you want to put your head in the sand or say somebody's, let's say you're right. Let's say they're being put to it. They're still doing it.
I think both are true. I think some of it's been manipulation, but they still hate you.
Well, I've got a working theory on that. And my theory is that many of these racists who turn on white people and hate them and want to kill them already had the resentment deep within their hearts, born of resentment and envy. And then this campaign started and they fed it because they wanted an excuse to hate someone they already hated. And now they have the justification
so drove it a lot worse,
to do the evil that's in their heart.
No, there's probably some truth to that. But I brought a few black nationalists on, people who don't like white people very much. They went through back. They're the ones that first woke me up to segregation, that black people were actually doing a lot better than they are today. And that's kind of like, so maybe it wasn't good for either one of us.
I don't think it was good for either one of us because everybody naturally gravitates to their own kind and they feel better amongst their own kind.
Well, also before the black people, they had doctors, lawyers, their own stores, all this, and they weren't ready to compete with us in the jobs market, and then they switch us over. So instead, these guys get addicted to drugs. They lose their worth. They stop having these good jobs. Then there was the attack with the welfare, to get the dads out of the home. The drugs were flooded in, the hip hop music, and it's completely collapsed the society.
Yeah, for sure. They orchestrated the crack epidemic. It was called buck breaking,
But hip hop music is completely attacked. Oh, we're gonna go shoot each other.
Yeah. Why it's good to hate people. We're gonna call each other this word all day. That if you say, we're gonna kill you.
If you say it, we're gonna kill you. Yeah, we'll shoot you if you say it.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know how much of that stuff was true because it's hard. When you talk to black people, they always want to tell you how they were kings, and I'm like, all right.
But I did do a little research. I do think they did look a lot better. They wore suits.
They were definitely, but you got to also remember
there was still more crime.
At that point, there was a moral order in the system. It was a 90% white society. You would be held accountable for your crimes, and that kind of system keeps criminals in check.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Some of them are still psychos. They still did it. That's when they show you those pictures of black people being lynched, and they go, look at the horrible things white people did.
There's also lots of white people lynched. They never talk about that.
They never talk about that. They also never talk about why they lynched those guys. I remember there was one picture of a black guy who got lynched, and I remember thinking, wow, that's so awful. And then they told what happened, which was the guy encountered a white couple. The woman was pregnant, and they shot the guy, raped the woman, and killed her. Yeah, you should be lynched if you do that.
So it's accountability. It's people being held accountable. Seems like common fucking sense.
And if they were so racist, if white people were so racist, then how come when the ADL tried to blame a black janitor for raping, I forgot what her name was.
Mary Fagan, I believe.
What was it?
I think it's Mary Fagan.
Maybe, 13-year-old girl. How come the white people didn't take the bait and go lynch the black guy, but instead they did an investigation and they found that it was actually...
It was the Jew. That's the ADL was started to defend Leo Frank.
Yeah, Leo Frank, and they hunted him down together to hold him accountable, and they hung him because even he was found guilty, even though the ADL tries to lie and say he wasn't found guilty. He was found guilty, and then they were going to give him a light sentence. And the people together, the whites and the blacks, said, no, you did a heinous thing. You raped a 13-year-old, and then you brutally murdered her. You're going to get hung. And what the ADL was formed was that they shouldn't have carried out justice themselves. But today, the ADL will lie and say it was because he wasn't guilty.
No, he was so guilty. I was able to find the old court transcripts and all that. I remember hearing there were some of the people on the not the actual jury, but what's the pre-jury called, the grand jury. There was 3 or 4 Jewish people on that. So it wasn't they all agreed the evidence was there. It's just crazy. The ADL has so much power. This isn't some random organization. They're the one that control the censorship all over the internet. They run the Google searches. They train the FBI. This is a powerful organization, and they were started to get a fucking pedophile out of jail. This is talk about sticking up for your own people. It's insane. They'll literally defend a pedophile.
But that's disgusting behavior, and people like that shouldn't be in charge.
No,
and this is why
would never take in a pedophile.
I'm all for white people running countries because they actually have a moral system, an objective moral system in which they do not defend criminals just because they're the same skin color as them.
No, it's wild. We've had so many things decay with DAs, and the media is a big one pushing because they push the agenda, but it does seem like there's an awakening. So I just don't know where we go from here. It seems like so many people are seeing it now. There are finally white people that were disgusted, seeing white people get killed. There are before no one to speak up. They were so cowed by the media to never say anything. So scared more scared of being called a racist than having like your daughter or mother get killed.
Yep. It's like, when Austin Metcalf got murdered and his dad had to go on camera and say, I forgive him. White people just stop this shit. It's pathetic. We should shame white people who do this. I did not agree with Erica Kirk going on and going, I forgive him. You can't forgive someone who didn't repent. Like it's clear. Okay. And then people are like, oh, Jesus forgave the thief. The thief said to him, said something to Jesus first, right? The one that was on his left mocked him, and then I'm not like super familiar with the Bible, but I know that the thief on the right said something to him, like, can I be with you in heaven or something, which was an act of contrition. And then Jesus said, you will be with me in heaven. So there was the unrepentant thief did not go to heaven.
And stealing is not as bad as killing your fucking husband.
You're not Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm not forgiving someone that kills one of my loved ones. God can forgive him. I'm not going to.
And we're not asked to. We're not asked to. Yeah. This is a complete perversion of Christianity, and that's why you have this like counter-Christian movement that's happening now, where they're like, oh, Christ was a Jewish rabbi, and you're worshiping a Jewish rabbi, and I'm like, this is so nonsensical.
Like Adam Green, I had him on recently.
I just don't agree with them at all on this, because I'm like, all you have to do is do a little bit of research. You go, yeah, let me get this straight. So Jews made up a story about a rabbi that they then rejected, by the way. They rejected him as their Messiah. And in the story, they put a bunch of anti-Semitic things, revealing some of the stuff they've done that Jesus was against, so all the Goyim could worship him. And then 2,000 years later, the Goyim would accept a weakness, and then they would be destroyed. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, and I think Jesus, right before they crucified him, he attacked the temple, which was their banking and where they sacrificed the animals to their devil god.
Yeah.
That's what he attacked them, and probably, there's not details in it, but he probably attacked them with like an army of his followers, because he was able to come in, flip the tables, come in with a whip. And I did that by himself in the armed temple.
Right. I know, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
They don't give details behind it, but it had to be with his followers, I'd assume. He came in by himself and like started turning over the tables. He probably came in like a whole like mob of them and shut down the temple.
Right, which wouldn't, that's not going to go well, as we can see.
The bankers, they don't.
The bankers don't like that.
And their sacrificing was super important to them back then. They were all about, they had to have their constant
their
animal
chicken,
sacrifice.
the chicken to take their sins,
How do we just ignore that? Like, no one wants to speak up on it. It's anti-Semitic. They grab a fucking chicken and swing it around. Like, no other people sacrifice animals.
Insane. Well, yeah, they do, Africa.
But we condemn it, exactly.
Yeah,
we're like, oh, this is okay, because these people are...
It's insane. Disgusting. No, I agree with you. It's totally insane. But I don't know. I think like people are waiting. There are things that we're doing, right? There's political action that people are taking, which I think is important. I mean, one of the things that I really want to get happening is impeachment of these judges who let these repeated criminals go on. So I put out a call.
That's a big one.
I put out a call to my followers where I was like, okay, who can help with this? Who can help with the data mining? Who can help with building the website? And then what the next move is how do we get these judges impeached? These judges who accepted Soros money, these judges who are failing to do their job. These people should not be allowed to have their jobs, and they should be in prison.
Yes, I agree.
If a doctor, performs bad, surgery on you or gets money to hurt you, they'll be in jail. Mm-hmm. This is the same thing, worse, because you're letting people out who kill people.
And putting innocent people in, like the Daniel Penny, the Jew DA was trying to put him in jail.
Oh,
she
kept
calling him like the white man, and
she did that.
Her
yeah,
hatred of white people is insane.
Yep, I covered that in a video I did, and she, she then brought up the Holocaust when she was talking about this. I'm not kidding. It's like a joke.
Every single time.
It's a joke. They don't understand. Like they've really overplayed their hand. And I think people need to start taking these actions politically.
No, we need to figure out how to fight back. I think there's multiple ways. Like first, there's information, which we're getting out there. We need to go beyond that. Like find ways to get these DAs out, get these politicians out.
These DAs, these judges, these corrupt cops. I mean, the mayor of Charlotte, where in North Carolina, where that poor Ukrainian girl was slaughtered on the train.
Terrible.
She had no empathy or compassion at all.
What did she say? She didn't want to be called a racist, probably.
I forgot what she said. I covered it, but it was something really, really like, just you could tell she didn't care. And there were people who were like, there were black people being like, making memes where he had a crown on his head and being like, we don't care about her. We don't care about what happened. And I go, you know what then?
Then we don't care.
We don't care.
That was the first time I saw white people like standing up, though. It was a little bit outraged, and the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and it kind of blew it over. That was the first
but
time
white people were still standing up there, and it was black people again who were cheering Charlie Kirk getting murdered because he said some things that made black people feel bad, according to them. Even though there was clear footage that Charlie Kirk was not racist, he said that Michelle Obama got her position from DEI, and that hurts your feelings. Like,
probably true. Don't do DI, and we won't accuse someone for being a DEI.
It's simple,
Yeah.
But it's that race blindness, and the rest of us are just not supposed to have it.
They want us not to see it, but every other race does. So you have to be realistic in the situation, So I've grown up through fighting, getting fine with other races, but you have to realize if other people are looking through this lens, you better a little bit too. Otherwise, you're gonna get wiped out.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think that there is something really beautiful about everybody having their own identity. Like I remember when I was in high school, my history teacher, he was talking about how if you go to Europe, there's like McDonald's there and there's Starbucks, and he's like, yeah, it's globalization. And I could tell, I think he was conservative, he didn't like it or whatever. And I was like 15, I didn't know anything at this time,
Yeah.
And I just felt this like sinking feeling in my chest that was like, oh, well, that's not great. I don't know why. And I didn't know why. And then I was in an English class, and this girl who was like half Japanese, half American was like, well, they say that in the future, everybody's going to look the same because everybody's going to mix races so much that we're all going to be the same. And once again, I wasn't like that aware, but I was like, that sounds really sad.
Yeah, it seems weird to have
I don't know why I don't want that, but it sounds really sad.
I don't think it's racist to not want to have.
Well, I now understand that it's like, if you do that, you erase all the beauty in the world. I mean, if I go to the African safari and
everyone looks exactly the same.
Everyone looks exactly the same, and there's a bunch of shopping malls in there. I'm like, this is depressing.
Right, all the same stores, the Starbucks,
and if I go to Paris and there's a bunch of Haitians throwing trash everywhere, I'm like, this is depressing.
Yeah, Paris is disgusting now. It's crazy.
It's depressing.
You go to Paris, I was one of the greatest cities in the world at one point. Now,
and what do these people want that are coming there? They're not happy either. Like,
no, it's not good for anyone.
And I come from a very strong culture. I come from like Albanian culture, and Albanians survived by being very, very pro their own culture and isolated in a way, right? They really were like, they did not allow outbreeding. If you married outside of an Albanian, it was very
ostracized.
There was tons of pressure. And when I was younger, I was like, that's because I grew up in America, right? So I'm like, that's wrong. And you love who you love and all this stuff. And I go, well, if everybody did that, then there'd be no Albanians.
No culture, yeah.
There'd be no English. There'd be no French. There'd be no Danish. There'd be no Swahilis. There'd be no Pakistanis. There would be none of this. Maybe it's good, no Pakistanis.
Yeah, I was about to say that one.
But you know what I mean? None of this would exist if everybody did that. Is that what we want? Do we want to take all the flowers and make them into one hideous thing that we don't even know what it is anymore?
Yeah, it's not what I want.
That's not what I want. It's not what anybody wants when they look in their hearts.
No, it's not. But they've got people to say the talking points over and over.
The same way they got the people to say that man is a woman.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
No, exactly.
It's you have to betray yourself and say the lie, even if you don't mean it, because the real danger when you and I say the truth is all the people who are holding back realize they're not alone. Mm-hmm. That's the real danger.
And that's why they want to try to silence us.
And that's why they want to silence us. And that's why, look, I don't know what's going to happen if they took out Charlie Kirk. Why wouldn't they take me out?
Exactly. Of course, it's like they could kill us, but it's like we're all going to die anyways. Ultimately,
we're all going to die anyways.
Not going to live a coward's life.
Better to die knowing the truth and telling the truth and being a symbol to other people, because it could light a fire that they can't extinguish. And that's my hope, that we will light a fire that they can't extinguish, and we will put everything back in its right order the way it's supposed to be.
No, I think that definitely could happen too. People's minds are changing. It's like there's a lot more of us than them. They can't just ultimately say fuck you if things aren't changing. I mean, they can maybe in some sense, but not really.
Not really. And, I think I read something recently that I thought was really important. I think we should always remember it. It was about I forgot his name. I'm not really great with names. I remember a lot of these stories, but
I'm bad with names too.
It was a POW who was caught, I think, in the Vietnam War. And he was a prisoner of war, and they held him in like really horrible conditions. Mm-hmm. And he survived. And as he survived, lots of people that were held as prisoners of war, he watched them die. Mm. And he remembered, he goes, I remember they were like really like optimistic. They'd be like, okay, we're going to get out of here by Christmas. It's going to happen. And then he said Christmas would come and they wouldn't be out, and they'd start to lose hope. And eventually those people gave up and they died. And somebody asked him, what was the difference? How did you survive? He said, I always was aware of how bad it was, but I knew I was going to make it. And I thought that was super powerful. Now I just like take it with me, where it's like, he said, I didn't lie to myself about how bad the conditions were and what I was facing and how dire and dangerous it was. But I made up my mind that I was going to make it and I was going to go home. And he didn't say when. He just said, I'm going to do this. And I think that that's the position we have to find ourselves in.
Yeah, no, I agree. When people are defeated, it pisses me off too. People are always like, oh, you can't win. This and that. It's
okay, like, so you've just made their job so much easier. Mm-hmm. You might as well just lay down, spread your ass cheeks, and let them do whatever they want to you.
No, but I could see the change, like on different issues. Like I said, the tranny thing we broke through, on the Israel thing, I was one of the earliest people online speaking of that. And I've just seen the whole narrative shift, even for the conservatives. They own all of the media, all the social media companies. They got TikTok's last one. Well, Twitter's the last one they don't own. They own it all.
That we know of.
It's getting harder to reel in the censorship is the problem, because too many people are telling the truth at once, and they're having to ease up on the censorship a little bit because they can't start censoring everyone.
Right.
You can't start censoring.
Well, because you're going to lose your money.
Exactly. People will switch to different platforms and stuff even too, then they'll lose it.
Shout out to Gab, go to Andrew Torba's Gab.com.
Oh, Gab's great.
For sure.
That guy seems pretty cool.
He's based, and he's blocked India and Israel off the thing. So
get them off of Gab.
You're not going to have any bots on there.
He had a great AI going. Gab,
I know.
I think he still has it, but it's not on Twitter, because before you could have it where you could be like, tag it to answer.
Yep, and they just got rid of uncensored AI for the same thing, But I'll say, I agree with you. For the people that are like seeing what's going on, here in America, in Britain, in France, in Germany, you can't put your head in the sand and be stupid optimistic, like it's going to be all right.
No, you have to fight to make it happen.
Trust the plan. None of that.
God.
None of that. You've got to recognize the absolute dire situation we are in. We are facing an extinction. There's no way about it. Your kids are in danger. When you send them to school, they're in danger. When they go out in the cities, they're in danger. Your kids have a target on their back because they're white. Okay? That's the reality. Okay? And if you don't do something, it's the end. You can't just keep watching the news and being like, okay, well, it was somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
It's a Russian roulette, right? You have to face that reality, know that there is a danger, and know that we are going to succeed.
No, I agree. I think we have to get it done in the next 5 to 10 years too.
We're going to make it. Period. The end.
Yeah, we need to get law and order back in. We need to get Israel needs to stop controlling our government. Like, how insane is that they're paying influencers $7,000 like a post now?
Yeah,
how pathetic are these people?
This is going to end. We are going to be a free and sovereign people. I don't know when. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how much we're going to have to suffer, because I'm prepared for much suffering and hardship and fighting that we're going to have to do. But we are going to make it. And it's going to cost some sacrifices. Okay, you can't have your fucking soy lattes or whatever bullshit.
Things,
who cares? None of that stuff is meaningful anyway. It doesn't give you any purpose. Okay, you're going to lose whatever stupid job. Find another way where you can make money, even if it's not the most amount of money you could ever make. Support your family and be okay and be able to tell the truth. Because what good is all that money if you don't have your family? If something happens to, God forbid, one of your children because you didn't stand up, you don't care about that money.
Yeah, right. It's like that's people need to realize this is like real shit. Just to like to be too scared to be called racist. Like your daughter can get killed. Your wife. It's like we need to stand up.
It's
and
enough.
Get some law and order back in the thing. It's the popular opinion. We can win this shit back. We just need to stand up, stop being cowards.
We will, but not with you sitting on your ass and hoping somebody else is going to do it. There is nobody else left. They've killed all the heroes.
Everyone's always like, don't speak up, let someone else do it. It's like, who? Like,
who else?
Everyone needs to step up.
Who's going to do it?
And it does show you things are majorly changing. I am optimistic that there's going to be some change in the next few years. Because I've seen so much change in the last 4 or 5 years on multiple issues.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm also very aware of the dangers that we face and the fact that they are moving in to censor platforms. This is why I started.
I think censorship's coming.
Yeah, I started building my own, newsletter with people. They go to my website and they sign up.
Newsletters, sign on your website.
It's leonardaisfunny.com. And you just put
funny.
Yeah, leonardaisfunny.com, and then they just go in, put their email in, and then I'm going to be putting things on my own website that can't be taken down.
Well, that's what you need because there could be mass censorship in all the social media.
And there's stuff I censor myself from.
Eight Front War. That's SSA. They're admitting that they're on war against people like us. Me and you are definitely on the
That's
list.
what you have to get through your brains. Okay, the war is against you. You. Benjamin Netanyahu does not respect your First Amendment right.
No, the Eighth Front War.
So he's not going to respect
your
your Second Amendment right. Mm-hmm. That's coming. Soon as they're done with the First Amendment, it's the Second Amendment every time. Mm-hmm. Just study what they've done throughout history. They didn't kill the Russians while the Russians were still armed.
Mm-hmm. No, I remember for years thinking like, man, what's happening now seems so similar to what happened with communism. It feels like the same people are doing it. Then I realized, it is the same people, the exact same playbook. The
Spanish Civil War, very similar. Spanish Civil War also was communist, even though it was Spanish nationalists. There was a lot of their ideology came from Marxists.
Shocking.
And it was a dire situation. It was like this. It was worse, actually. And they had Franco. Franco was a devout Catholic who went to church. I think he went to Mass every single day. And they call him like a dictator now. If you listen to Franco, loved his people, he loved God, and he loved his country. And he was able to win because he was able to unify both around nationality and religion. And he was a moral guy, and he knew what needed to be done. And the other thing too is he wasn't this like cruel. Yeah, he killed people. These people had killed people. These people were people who killed people and were calling for more people to be killed. Yeah, you got to go.
Well, in the Soviet Union, I think 20 million were killed. So people
I actually think the number was
going to be okay. Sometimes it's not.
I know. I think the number actually might have been closer to 60 million.
No, you might actually 50 million. I think maybe something insane like that.
So people need to. That's when I say you have to understand the dangers that you're facing. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about mass genocide of the people you love, and there being nowhere you can go because Britain is locking down, right? France doesn't have anything. Germany's toast. Where are you going to go?
I think COVID was kind of a wake-up call for me. I didn't really follow politics, but I saw the whole world went along what was obviously a scam. It was clearly not a deadly virus on the streets, but the whole world just went, jumped in hoops. You're like, wow, this is like... There's clearly something organized behind the scenes making this all happen. This isn't just organic.
Oh yeah, that was a huge wake up call for me too. And I remember when they announced that they were going to have like a 2-week shutdown.
That was shocking to me.
It's not going to be 2 weeks. I knew it. I said it's not going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot longer.
I can't believe people really locked down. I remember I was like, okay, so where are the after hours party out tonight? And everyone's like, we're not going out. I'm like, you fucking pussies.
Yeah, it was insane. The comics in New York stopped doing stand up.
Huh?
I found like a group of comics. We were kind of radicals. One of them was actually. He was cool. He doesn't talk to me now.
Yeah, there's a couple cool, but I did not friend anymore.
He doesn't. No, because I've
lost like half my
you know what?
Friends. I
actually still love the guy. I went to his wedding and still love the guy, but he doesn't like my positions on Israel. He thinks I'm just being anti-Semitic. It's
kind of eye-opening to show that if you don't support their country, they'll turn on you.
And I'm like, the thing is that if this was the other way around, where the Palestinians were genociding the Jews, I'd be standing up for you.
No, it's just
so
what's right.
I'm not over here just like calling you out because I don't like Jews. It's like I don't want this to happen to anybody.
And I don't want to pay for it particularly. And I don't want to pay for my influencers to tweet against me. And it's just, just insane. The level.
So there was a bunch of us that kind of, went kind of underground and did the parks and did the rooftops or whatever. And there was like a split. You saw it like communism. Like there were the compliers who were trying to like rat us out and post about us. And I was like, I'm sorry that you suck. And you are enjoying this lockdown. And also, I remember I told you comics were losers.
Yeah. Well, they were getting paid.
They were sending all that money. It was more money than most comics had ever made in their life.
Most I've made.
And they were happy. And I was like, I don't like this. And I was like, okay, I have a little bit of money. It wasn't more than
not to work. Yeah.
It wasn't more than I had made when I was working, but it helped tide things over. But I still was like, I would rather be working.
Yeah, I'd rather be working than having the fucking government send me money. They wanted us dependent on that. It also wiped out the middle class, killed small businesses while the big businesses thrive.
What's his name? The guy who held Bill Ackman.
He made $2.6 billion. He bet against I think $2 million or something. He got a 10,000% return in a month.
He actually pushed for the lockdown. He pushed Trump because he knew,
because he had bet against it, made him $2.6 billion. That's the thing. They get these monies when they're the ones. Bill Ackman was part of these Jewish. He was those telegram messages that were sending to raid the protests in New York. There's literally a Jewish conspiracy of Jewish billionaires making Eric Adams. He sent in the police to raid all these fucking colleges. Bill Ackman was likely probably the same group was probably pushing President Trump to close the country. So he probably had all these like rich guys that made billions off the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
So cool. Before we wrap up, do you have any comedy shows coming up? Or
Actually, I'm coming to Texas this month, October. I'm going to be in Austin, Houston, and San Antonio.
Are you allowed to say where you're playing, or you have to do it last minute?
It's secret location. You got to, you got to buy tickets, and then you're going to get an email the morning of. Every time people email me days before, where's the location? You're going to get it the morning of. I got to do it, or the show's going to get canceled, or I'm going to get threatened. That's what's going to happen. So I'll be there in Texas next month. I'm going to be in Phoenix. And then I'm adding like Chicago, Detroit. I'm trying to add Vegas.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what clubs.
It won't be a club.
You can't do them.
I don't do any clubs. I basically find these unknown like rental halls, and sometimes it doesn't look that great. Okay, but we have a good show. We have a good show. We have a fun show. Everything that needs to be there is there. And sometimes it's like an indescript building that nobody even knows has a hall.
Are you pretty much banned from all the comedy clubs?
Pretty much. I mean, even the ones I'm not officially banned from, like I don't even try, because they might say yes and then they'll look me up.
Cause a bunch of problems.
Or they'll post me, and then all the comedians, the fun free speech comedians, will call the club and demand that I be taken down.
So gay.
It's really because they're fat and not funny, and they can't get anybody to come to their shows, so they don't want me to have anything either. Exactly.
Yeah, Owen Benjamin had to buy his own land to perform on.
Yeah.
And then he got put on in Florida, some show. Where was it?
I know.
Yeah, they canceled.
They canceled the whole thing.
They ended up they found a place to do it, but they canceled the whole show. I'm like, damn, you really are, because they're like, Owen Benjamin can't be on the show.
Yep.
It's like, wow, you. Really
I had that.
Canceled.
These comics. I do have some comics that still support me. They're pretty cool, and they were going to do a show down at the La Jolla Laugh Factory. And they were like, okay, yeah, don't worry, we'll put you on. And I was like, I'm just telling you guys what's going to happen. And they're like, no, don't worry. They said I could put whoever I want. And then the manager or whatever was like, hey, send me over the flyer. And then he sends a flyer over with me. And he goes, Leonarda Jonie cannot perform at this club.
Wow.
And he was like, I can't believe it. I was like, I can. And that also, all these comedy clubs are losing money because they keep trying to hire. Most comics that you see at comedy clubs suck. They're not funny. No, they're saying all the same shit. In New
York, most of them just sucked.
So bad.
So push some boundaries, and it was fucking funny.
You can sell tickets like that maybe once, maybe twice, but then word gets out, and people are like, "I'm not going to a comedy club." So all these comedy clubs who are afraid to platform people who are edgy or telling the truth or breaking the system, you're losing money. You're going to go bankrupt. Good, because you'll get replaced by people who actually have a good working business model, which is not someone who just wants to put up people that everybody can clap and like smile at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's disappointed that like you're banned from Joe's Comedy Club even too.
It is disappointing. That's
you ever
disappointing.
Talk to him or not really?
I've never talked to him about it. I'm not going to bother
I've always
him.
liked Joe. There's things I've been disappointed about him with.
Yeah.
But overall, he's always...
I can't imagine what he's got to deal with.
He has a lot of
He's
people,
got
the biggest podcast in the world.
Biggest podcast. He's running one of the major clubs. He's got so much pressure on him. He is taking stands against things that the mainstream media doesn't want.
And they go hard against him.
And they come down on his neck. So I can't imagine that he wants another battle that involves me. It's just like, I can't imagine that.
That's why I try not to be too hard on him. Sometimes
I'm not
irritated about things, but I'm like, you know what? He deals with a lot.
Yeah, I don't even blame him. I'm like, hey, you should kind of look into your club a little bit because you want it to be the free speech haven. And it's being run by people who don't believe in free speech. And also you have all these not really great comedians who are basically forming a block from any really good comedians coming up because they just banned Tyler Fisher from there.
I'm not sure who that is.
He's a funny right-wing comedian. He's been on Gutfeld. They banned him. And it's a lot of these low tier, like I said, comics are losers.
I've been around a lot of comics. That's pretty true.
And they get jealous and envious when anybody has a little bit more talent or success than them. Mm-hmm. And they try to get in the way of that. And it's sad because it's not that what you should be doing is working on your own comedy. Because that's the only thing that's going to help you advance. Mm-hmm. But you are worried about what I'm doing. I'm going to go where I'm going.
Yeah.
You understand? You make these difficulties for me. I go, great. This is something that I need to get better. Mm-hmm. Like when I got banned from the mothership, I was like, great. This is something I need in order to figure out an alternate way to get where I'm going.
Yeah, as a comedian, that's a big deal, though. People that don't know, that's by far the biggest comedy club. Obviously everyone knows Joe's Comedy Club's the biggest place in Austin. So if you're a comedian and you're banned there, that's it's not like it's a small deal.
It's the number one. I think it's the number one comedy club in the world.
In the world now, yeah.
Yeah, for free speech too. And I can't play there. And you know what? Here's the thing. This may sound arrogant. It's your loss because you don't have a lot of funny female comedians and definitely almost no funny right-wing female comedians who are saying real shit. Mm-hmm. And you don't get to have me at your club. That's how I feel.
No, I agree. So anything before we wrap up, anything you want to get in or thing to plug?
Just go to my website, leonardaisfunny.com. I got all my tour dates there. Sign up for my newsletter. That's really the number one thing is just tell people to put their emails and phone numbers in. That way you can
get a contact them in case you get wiped out, which could happen. No, I think it's very possible. I should do something like that because
you should 100%.
Twitter,
100%. Yeah.
YouTube, all that.
All of it.
Well, thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.